real soon.
I saw a young kid singing you were my sunshine. All he ever wanted was to be a kid. But now that kid is 6 feet under, killed by a bullet. Don't it make you wonder? All he ever wanted was a happy day. You are my sunshine. You are my sunshine.
Good evening. I am Reverend Doug Moore. I've been here for 21 years, which means I'm either stubborn or stupid. I don't know which. But welcome to Laidlaw Church. If you would like to know where washrooms are, that usually gets people's attention. If you go through this door with the person looks like a game of Portal running, the little green guy, if you go on the other side of that door, there is a washroom, and you are welcome to use it. Please flush. Okay. See, didn't take. Yeah. This church was built in 1912 by the Presbyterians as a mission church for the riffraff from the East End, so they wouldn't show up at the fancy churches downtown. So I feel quite to home here. But they did put the washrooms at the front so you couldn't sneak into them, I suppose, is what they were doing. But anyway, out of respect, Laidlaw Church in the city of Hamilton is situated on the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. The land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. We further acknowledge that this land is covered by the Between the Lakes Purchase 1792 between the Crown and the Mississaugas of the First Credit Nation. Today, our city and our church is home to a lot of Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, North America, and we recognize that we must do more to learn about the rich history of this land so that we can better understand our roles as residents, as neighbors, as partners and caretakers. It's in that spirit that we welcome you all here tonight to talk and to make our community a better place, and we welcome you with open arms, and we welcome you with sweet stuff and coffee and drinks, so they're there all the time. If you're feeling dry because you've got something really important to say, wet your whistle and let it go. We're also on live stream, so the people that are on live stream, say hello to them. Look around and go, hey, woo, nice to have you with us. They're able to chat with us, and the folks up here can see that chat. So, and some people I have found are very shy. So if you are one of those shy people, if you go on your phone and go to Laidlaw Live on YouTube, you can actually chat up here without ever having to open your mouth or stand up. And sometimes that's the way people want to talk, in that kind of anonymous way. And you can do that whether you're here, whether you're there, or wherever you are. And if you would like to hear back what happened, that video will be up on Laidlaw Live for, till someone tells me to take it down, or the Lord comes. Thanks. Welcome. Thank you.
Hey, hey, hey. Woo! You guys are here. You guys are here. You give me goosebumps. You're here. I'm going to say it wrong, but Margaret Mead, some quote from Margaret Mead said, I'm going to cry. I'm going to get passionate here today. But she said that all it takes to make a change in our community is a few caring citizens, and that's what's always made changes. So thank you to you guys for being here. This isn't my town hall, this isn't Ty's town hall, this is our town hall. All voices matter, and we have to do something about the violence and the hurt and the pain that is happening in our city, because it's killing my soul. I don't know about you guys, but it's killing me. But you know what? We're going to come up with solutions. You have some light bulbs, as you see. So if you get an idea, there's pens there as well. Write down your ideas, because when other people are speaking, it might, have a light bulb moment. And just write down your ideas, and you can feel free to put them in the basket. It's in the back, and we're going to send them to the right people, whether it's the city, whether it's the school boards, whether, but we have to come together as the public and do something more. So this is about violence on a general scale, okay? And I'd like to introduce, drum roll, the one, the only movie producer. We got a movie star here. The movie star producer, Ty Greenidge.
I'm actually going to be moving back and forth, so I'm going to start with, I want to get closer to the people, but on the screen I'll start with, I have a bit of a PowerPoint. Pay attention, don't pay attention, it's okay. It's just information there kind of showing the circumstances. That's not happening today. In fact, I'll probably sit right there for a minute. How's everybody doing? Honestly, thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm going to be flat out honest with you because I was telling Shannon that I have had so much stuff going on. I can't do this without reading off a paper, but I'm going to wing and try and get it to you because we're just here talking, right? And I'll try and be as quick as possible to get through this. But the first thing I want to say, I would say to you, if I were to ask each one of you to put up your hand, you don't have to, but if I were to each ask you, are you exhausted? Are you frustrated? Are you tired? Are you fed up? Are the bills too much? Is anxiety at a 10? Is life so hard that you don't know what's going to happen? Is there hope that you see? Are you not inundated with all the stuff going on? If I had asked you to do that, your arm would have been up the whole time. But the fact of the matter is, with all of that, each one of you chose to come here today to speak, to listen, to be here. So, again, I would love for you to give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. Whether you have to get a puppy sitter, a babysitter, whether you work, whatever it is, you're here. So I'm going to talk to you about our journey for me being here. And I want to bring you on in a bit of imagination. I know you love Hamilton, and Hamilton's the perfect city in the world. So I'm going to say, if this was a perfect world, this was what happens. In our perfect world, I'm walking down Hamilton on a beautiful fine day. Up the street, I see two redheads. And as I look at those redheads, I think one's a mom, one's a daughter. I can't tell because they're both kind of young looking. And as I see these redheads, I see that there's a young man with them. And as I see that young man, I say to myself, that's a close family. That family's really close. And in that time, with that family, I'm like, he kind of reminds me of me. I'm a mama's boy, and I'm proud of it. And I see how close that family is. We look at each other, we make eye contact, and we smile. And then I keep walking and enjoy the beautiful day. But we do not live in a perfect world. And that's why I'm here. We do not experience a happy ending all the time. That's why I'm here. So I want to talk about Sherry Ann Selvey and how I met her and how we started working on the film, The Devon Selvey Story, which is now a documentary and also going to be a feature film. And as we begin telling you this story, and if it's okay, just bear with me, I'm trying my best. But as I tell you this story, I met Sherry Ann about 3 years ago. I was doing my other project. It's called Dear Grandpa is Michael. Check it out, please. It's about autism. And the family from there, Karen, Michael's mom, was like, if this does something, what are we going to do? So young Michael said, I want to help therapy dogs. Awesome. So I said, Karen, what do you want to do? And Karen said, I know this doesn't have anything to do with autism, but I remember that mom. I'm the mom, and it breaks my heart still. I wonder if there's something we can do. So when she told me that, I was like, right on board. Hell yeah, let's do this. So I found the reporter, got the email, and I spoke to Sherry Ann for about a year before we talked about anything. And there's all this information out there that I'm going to be crediting today. So as we're speaking, after a year, I say, I'm a producer, you know, right? And Sherry Ann explained to me, 3 months after Devon was gone, how someone who works with Netflix or has done some films with Netflix wanted to exploit the situation to make a film, to make money. She emphatically said, no, not a chance. And now you've insulted me in front of my daughter. So as we continued to become friends, and I said, what do you think about me doing it? She said, only if it's done properly. And we then got together and said, if it's not done properly, I'll spend the time on it, but it won't happen. And here we are today. And I want to talk just quickly about Sherry Ann, because in this story, talking about what's going on in our communities, can we say things have gotten better since 2019? I don't think so. And I want you to know this. I'm here talking about it, and it's hard. Every time she speaks about it, she relives it. After she's done reliving it in that moment, she goes home and puts her head to the table or her bed, sorry, not a table, but she relives it again. I can't describe the type of pain that must be. I really can't. So I'm gonna say this for people like her, because now I've met quite a few, because my job is to research and get as much stories, and believe me, there's plenty to talk about. But as I got to research, all these people sharing their pain. Why? Because she said from day one, not another child, and I don't want another family to be destroyed picking up the pieces. I want to talk about Devin. Who is Devin Selvey? Well, I'm hoping, as I grew up in Hamilton, that we start to learn a bit. I used to work with young offenders, so I'm born to tell this story. And as I worked with young offenders, as I was explaining to the officer here, all things can be true at the same time. I don't want to go conservative, I don't want to go liberal, I don't want to blame this or blame that. We're going to look at all of it, and just ask ourselves the questions. What happened? Why is this happening? And why can't we change a damn thing? So as we're doing that then, and I'm looking at Devin because there's misinformation about who he was, and you're going to see a little bit of footage that's never been seen before of Devin speaking. But before we get to that, we're going to say that I used to work with young offenders, and I left because I got discouraged. And again, like you, all one of us have good intentions. There's good in all of us. And we are capable of doing things that, unfortunately, aren't good. But in that, we learn to work with each other, to do better. So when I left working with young offenders to get involved in the film industry, I was told by some, not all, but by some, we are not here to correct them. We are here to detain them. That don't work for me. And I'm almost done this little spiel because I know it's going on a bit long. But here's what I want to say to you. If I were to go on Facebook since the day Shannon and I started, and she's, by the way, the warrior angel that you need. Amen. Can I get an amen? But when I go on Facebook just asking for help or just telling people about this, I can show you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of anger and bitterness. But no one's saying, this is going to work, or I want to try, or I'm in on that. I do get a little bit, but I'll say 90% is just frustration. And let me tell you this. When someone says to me, why are you here? Why are you doing it? It's no point. They're never going to change the laws. They're never going to do this. They're never going to do that. I will tell you this, and I guarantee you every time, if we do nothing, nothing has a chance to change. And let me bring you back to the start of my perfect day. And in that imaginary perfect day, perfect world, I walk up, I see two redheads, both of them looking young, and one's a mother's a daughter, but they're both young, all right? I see a boy with them, but that boy is now a man. So if there's 1% chance that I can stop the next one from happening, if there's 1% chance that someone changes their mind, someone makes a different decision, someone sees the pain that this brings to us, if there's 1% chance, I'm standing right here with you all. Obviously, you're here, I'm here. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do every day, exactly. And you being here today means that much to me because, again, it's easy to stay on the couch. Basketball game's on, football's on. But if we just talk about it and say nothing, if we just post on Facebook and say nothing, nothing changes. So I'm going to play with you today a teaser that I created, and I'm going to ask you to forgive me again. Because on this teaser, I lost my editor and during the week for an emergency, so I had to put it together with a friend. But the basis of this docu is to ask those questions and let you learn about the people who got involved. I want you to learn how the police works. We need to help the police. It's our community. It's our town. It's our city. We live here. I don't understand why people litter in your own city when you got to wake up and walk beside it. But if one person today helps one person, thank God I was here. If one neighborhood has a conversation that they wouldn't have had otherwise, thank God we're here. And if that happens every 3 months, and they come to Sharon and they say, well, this is working, this is not working in my neighborhood. I live, and my neighbor, I don't hang out with him, but he said he saw someone walking around my property and texted me to let me know. That's all you gotta do. Look out for each other. That's what we used to do. You're probably sick of hearing that's what we used to do, but we're here right now. So I'm gonna play this trailer, and again, forgive me, but here we go. I don't know if there's anything to do with lights. I'm getting old. That's all that tells me.
Wake up early, time to rise. Brush our teeth and rub our eyes. Pack our bags and tie our shoes. Off to school, there's no time to lose. Off to school, off to school. With a smile and a cheer, we follow the rules. Off to school, off to school.
14-year-old accused of a deadly school shooting appeared in a Georgia courtroom today.
His father was also charged for his role in the attack that left 4 people dead. WGN's Shannon Halligan joins us with the latest on that. Shannon?
Yeah, the teen's father faces manslaughter and second-degree murder charges related to the shooting. It's the latest attempt by prosecutors to hold parents responsible for their children's actions in school shootings.
Say a fight involving around 10 people broke out at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Could this possibly happen? How can I protect my students? One of the members of the Selby family, the extended family, came out, and 2 of the young offender's family tried to irk him, come on, come on, come on, and get in the elevator to go down, even with police.
If you're a parent, a grandparent, a child giver getting a child off to school this morning, well, we have some special coverage for you today. The findings from a groundbreaking CBC News investigation into what many Canadian school children face every day, but few talk about: physical assault, sexual assault, hateful harassment, school violence that some children may first experience when they are very young.
I would have to say it's silliness. Always wanted to make people laugh. Devlin was alive they resuscitated him, he was alive for 90 minutes. And he died alone because they wouldn't let me be there.
Hey guys, I don't know what to say, but I don't know why I'm making a YouTube video. This is pointless. It's absolutely pointless for me, yeah. I may be a leader of a clan and that, but that doesn't mean anything. It does not mean anything right now. The only stuff, I don't know what the only stuff is, but whoever does watch this video, which there ain't gonna be a lot of people, I just hope you guys respect other people. That's all. And comment how your day was today. This video is pointless. But I don't know why I'm gonna say this, but like, subscribe, and comment. And go make people's days awesome. Great, not awesome. Great. Go make people's days great.
So, I want to go deeper and look into that family and share just an ounce of how many others since then, because I can tell you it feels like hundreds. And there is no easy answer, it's complicated, but I will tell you this. It starts with us communicating and working together like we're all a family. And I'm gonna have, if she's up for it, Sherry Ann just say a couple words, if she's up for it. But I'll give her a hug first. So I'm gonna give her a minute. So if we're gonna move on to what's next, Shannon, then. But yeah, that's the first part of the project that I'll be working on, and I want to talk to, like I said, the police. I want to talk to people who are bullies. I want to talk to people who are the victim of bullies. I want to talk to teachers. I want to talk to students. I want to talk to everybody. And if we together, everybody shares their voice, and we listen, truly listen, I still say 99% of the time, good people are working hard to do good things. You came here. I can't believe you came here. You're here. So thank you. I'm going to pass the mic. Please get me off of this.
Can we give Devin's mom a round of applause, please? We love you, Devin. So on the flip side, I work with at-risk youth on the side, not my full-time job, but on the side, and I work with kids that do bad things, the bad kids, right? Bad kids. But to me, there's no such thing as really bad kids. It's hurt kids, right? Hurt people hurt people. You guys see these signs, these hand-painted signs all around. How many of you have seen them hanging around in the city? Love them, yeah. Well, you know what? Who's doing those signs? The bad kids. So I take them out and whatever fits the crime. So I call it restorative justice. So if they're not healed, maybe they're making a sign that says healing. Maybe they're saying some nice things about the police. Maybe they're promoting some morals, ethics, and values, something that we've lost in our society, morals, ethics, and values. A lot of these kids don't even know what they are. I tell all of these kids, you got 3 yards to pick from. You got a prison yard, you got a graveyard, or you can have a backyard. The kids these days are in so much pain, and I know my friend Mel is great with kids too, but these kids are in so much pain these days, they have nowhere to go, right? Go bowling, it's $100, easy. They took away all ages dances. Everywhere they go, so I'd also ask you to look at the board at the back. Those are all comments from the youth. And you know what they say? Everyone hates us. And you know what? It's true. Because I'll tell you something, I walk through a mall behind them with teenagers, 2 or 3, every adult's giving them a dirty look, accusing them, what are you stealing? Hey, what are you doing? And then they go to school. I know there's some good teachers, but I'm gonna tell you now, some of the biggest bullies are teachers. We all remember our best teacher and our worst teacher, right? Well, I'm telling you, I've been in the schools with these kids, and I've seen how the receptionists even, the principals, talk to them like dirt. You know what, I just went to hang flyers at a school, I won't say where, but one of the young girls there said, they don't even say hi to us. They don't even say hi to us. So you get treated like, and some of them don't come from good homes. They get treated like shit at home, right? Then they go out. They can't go to Tim Hortons because they'll get kicked out. Somebody will call the police on them. They can't go anywhere without somebody hating on these kids. And then you wonder why they're angry. It's a hard time. Remember being a teenager? It was hard for me. You're going from a kid to an adult. You don't know who you are. There's nothing for them to do. You know, and a lot of these kids, I got a soft spot for them because if we don't do something, the anger, them jumping people, I think they're all walking around with PTSD personally, because every one of those kids have been bear sprayed, jumped by 5'10" guys. Anyways, so I've talked to the youth a lot about a lot of things, and in the States they have, it's called Guns Down, Gloves Up. It's a project. Okay, so what happens with Guns Down, Gloves Up? I've been trying to get this going, but I'm not getting the best of luck. But so they have beef. We need real men. Look at all these real men here today. I love real men. You guys are going to make a difference in the youth, not us women, the men, because a lot of them don't have dads, don't have a good male role model around. Anyways, Guns Down, Gloves Up is, you know what? You ain't tough. A 9-year-old is tough with a gun, right? The gun's tough. It doesn't mean you're tough. So take your beef into the ring like real men do. What did you guys used to do?
Duke it out, then have a drink, and then have a drink.
Shake hands after, right? You get humbled, right? You get humbled real fast, right? So what we're trying to do is show these kids that we're trying to show these kids you're a coward if you're using guns. You're a coward if you're bear spraying. You're a coward if you're jumping 15 on 1. You're a coward. Be a man. This is how the old school ways were. We need to bring the old school ways back. Anyways, I am asking, right, because this is solution focused, I'm asking that every one of you take a moment when you see a teenager, instead of giving them a dirty look, or what are you doing, smile at them. Everybody forgets the teenagers. Everybody forgets the teenagers at Christmas. The little kids, they get everything, right? Instead of buying the little kids, because they get a lot, they do, right? Every organization's for the little kids. Santa Claus, buy some basketballs. Buy some basketballs, shoot them a basketball, say something nice to them. You know, all it takes is one caring person to make a difference. We want the anger out of our youth, and they have to do, it's our part to do that, okay? Because those angry youth are the ones bullying. Those angry, they're in pain, all of them. So it's our responsibility to do something for these children, okay? Throw a party. I'm gonna tell you something. I throw parties for kids. I've had 300 kids in my little wartime house. 300. My house isn't big. 300, and guess what? Not one problem. Not one problem, because you know why? Anybody understand? Anybody have an idea why? That I show them respect, and guess what? I get it back, right? But they go out in society, respect their elders, respect to a certain point, yeah. But what if your elders aren't respectful? Like, you know what I mean? But 300 kids and not one issue, and these are your kids. So every time you see a sign, you think in your head, this is one of the quote-unquote bad kids hanging these signs up. It's a cry for help, right? So be nice to our teenagers. They need us. Have more programs. If you guys can think of any programs for teenagers, we need to do more for the teenagers, okay? So just be nice to a teen. And now I would like to call up a really amazing person that I actually met. So this is all about, you know, sticking up for each other. I just happened to meet this individual going to the grocery store, and some guy was being aggressive in the grocery store with little kids around and elderly, and I was about to intervene, because I will, not in a, you know, violent way, but I will intervene. But I was like, oh, this guy stood up. He was a man. He stood up and he protected the elderly kids. Anyways, I'd like to invite Mikey Mike up.
Hey guys, how are you? My name's Mike. Pleasure to be here. I'm glad to see all these kind faces here. We're gonna have to do something about standing together, eh? If you see the word community, there's unity in it. We need to band together. We gotta do more for the youth. We gotta have more programs. I'm a troubled youth as well. I was raised by addicts. I was molested as a child. I masked all that with drugs and alcohol and rage. In and out of prison, assault list like this. You know, I've been through it, right? So, you know, I'll tell you a story. I was on the subway a little while ago, and this guy just looked really sad, right? So I went and sat beside him, and he had his headphones in. I poked him, and I'm like, sorry to bother you, but you have the coolest jacket I've ever seen in my life. It was old school, eh? Like 80s. And neon pink, neon green, neon yellow. And he had a tear come out of his eye. I was like, what's up, brother? He's like, honestly, man, to tell you the truth, I was going to get off the next stop and jump in front of the oncoming train. And your kindness saved my life. So, like you said, all it takes is one little act of kindness. You don't know what people are going through. We all have our struggles, you know? A lot of us live in silence with it. You know, we gotta band together, we gotta speak about it, right? You know, I'm so very sorry to hear about Devin. My condolences to you and your family. I had a friend, so I was sponsored all the way up. I grew up on welfare, I grew up in Rexdale, picked on a lot, you know, oh, you're the crackhead's son, I get jumped. You know, there was a kid that, so anyways, I got sponsored all the way up. I ended up playing junior A and senior AA hockey, so I played some pretty competitive hockey. And I met a beautiful family called the Blythes, and they took me in like I was their son. They bought me new equipment. You know, I was a big thing in Richmond Hill when I played for the Rams. They had a son, Keegan. He was just a little kid, and his mom said, where do you want to get your hair cut? Wherever Whitey does. My last name's White, so they call me Whitey. So he'd have the mohawk, and he'd put the tattoos with the Sharpie on his arm. Great little kid. Loved the kid like a brother. A few years ago, he was trying to sell an ounce of weed to these 3 16-year-olds, and they held him down and stabbed him to death right on his front lawn. Justice wasn't served. These 3 16-year-olds were YOs. They got off. They did a couple years in prison, and they got out. So, you know, the justice system is we need to be harder on that. You know, we need to have more youth outreach programs. When I was a kid, nobody gave a shit. Excuse my French. Nobody cared. I'd reach out, I'd cry for help. Nobody gave a crap. You know, these youth are going to grow up, and they're going to be adults. You know, there's so many troubled youth. I can't stress enough. You know, yeah, the teenagers. Yeah, I still get dirty looks. You know, but I'm a nice guy. Take the shirt off my back for you guys. You know, we got to band together. It's a cold world out there. Grab your coat, but it doesn't have to be cold. You know. Yes, ma'am.
Mikey, tell the youth. What do you have to say to the youth about jail? How was your experience in jail?
Honestly, it's not like Hollywood. I'll tell you. Right now, Lindsay is 3 to a cell. Guys are sleeping on the floor. We're locked down in a cell with 3 guys, 36 hours, 48 hours. They're understaffed and overpopulated. Guys are getting shivved. You touch something, you're getting jumped by 5 guys. Murders in there all the time. It's not glamorous. It's honestly, stay out of jail, you know. Just, there's more to life, you know. And I'm a recovering addict myself. I got 1 month sober. Appreciate that. You know, I used drugs and alcohol to mask my childhood trauma. I'd wear so many masks and hats. When I peeled it off, I didn't know who I was. So, you know, if there's hope for me, there's hope for other youth. You know, and anything I can do in my power, I will help. bless all you guys. I love all you guys. Let's band together and help these kids, all right? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Awesome. Love you, brother. All right. So the first half is just hearing from some inspirational speakers, and then we're going to break out with some ideas after on how to solve all the violence and stuff in our city. Now I want to call up someone. Do you guys you see the drug epidemic, right? Everybody sees it. You know, they're killed over. You don't even know if they're alive, laying on the ground, and everybody just walks past them like it's normal. Do you know? So I would like to call up a very good friend of mine that I have much respect for. I'd like to call up Mikey.
So much more. Yes.
I am intervening. Use those. Perfect.
Everybody hear me? So much to say and speak on. Okay, we got this. Okay. We're good, brothers. Okay. That's great. Amazing. Perfect. Yeah, I like to move around and walk around when I speak usually, so I wanted to speak about addiction, but actually I have so much to say about the youth because I was troubled as well, man. Went through John Howard Society, jail time, all sorts of things. Sold a lot of drugs, guns, was tied up in that life actually myself. I could see it's a room of people that also went through the struggles, and we don't want the next generation going through that same struggle. So I truly believe the main part of the solution is actually being those role models for these children and giving them proper outlets. Like we have a men's group, but it's not just for men. You know, you could bring these young men that are struggling into these groups or all over the area. There could be local churches, whether they're Christian or not, like that they will have good influence, positive influence in their lives, you know. If they have men of faith and people that are strong in faith, that are living by these morals and ethics and these things we speak about, they'll naturally gravitate towards that, right? Discipline's another one. I love the gloves up, guns down thing, because like boxing doesn't only teach them, you know, to settle things with their hands, it teaches them discipline. It gives them encouragement to go and persevere through these hard struggles and persevere through difficult tasks in their life. And it most of all, it humbles them, man, and gives them a sense of accomplishment and confidence when they get through these things. So putting them in programs like, you know, whether it be boxing or some sort of martial arts, that they can, you know, put their frustrations or pent-up energy, that's potential energy in them, and put it in a positive outlet instead of a negative outlet. That would save a lot, I believe. And yeah, funneling these guys around men that have made it to the other side, have made it through the struggle. You know, as for the addiction, I think it goes very similar, hand in hand. Most of these kids that have struggled and are troubled have had parents or upbringing or surroundings that have been tainted by the drugs and addiction in the city, specifically in the city. I'm not speaking for other cities. I know specifically in this city, most of the youth came from troubled families that have struggled with addiction, and you don't know one of these people that you walk by on the street are probably someone's dad or mom, you know, one of these kids that are stuck in the system, their mom or dad's on the street pent over, and if you could be there to support those people and be the one to help those people lift them up, maybe they can get out of this struggle and be that parent that these kids need, you know, and actually be there for these children when no one else is, and take them out of the system. So it all starts, I think, with not avoiding the problem and just walking by it, but actually getting activated and going out there when you do see people stuck in addiction, not seeing them as just a broken, hopeless person. You know, they have more to them, man. We're all made in the image of God. We're all made in the likeness of God, and God doesn't see us just as a broken, hopeless person. There is a way out, and that is through having faith in something greater than ourselves. That's been the way for me, you know. I struggled with all sorts of things. I struggled with fentanyl addiction, the worst of the worst. I was dead at one point, literally. And the only way I could get out of this was through having faith in something greater than myself, you know, and that was the way out. Yeah, 100%. And that's where we need to direct these people that are struggling towards, man. You know, they might not get it immediately, but if they keep surrounding themselves with people in faith, people that have these morals or men that have made it to the other side, they will naturally gravitate to making it through there, and they will form a personal relationship with something greater than themselves, which is God, with Jesus, and that's what did it for me. You know, I don't want to get all Christian on everybody, because I know this isn't a preaching or a sermon, but that's ultimately the way out, is having faith in Jesus, having faith in God, and that's what brings change and unity in the city, to be honest. That's the key, I believe, and that's the not only the reaction, but it's also the precautions and then the things we could do beforehand, before people get into these tough, struggling states, you know? When people are just starting to struggle with addiction, or just starting to get in and out of jail, or they start to develop bad habits, you know, you surround them and get them funneled into one of these groups that have people that made it to the other side and are strong in faith. It will change their lives and the whole course of their lives and the course of everyone else's life that they may have impacted or destroyed, like Devin's, you know. It could change the course of so many things. I don't know if you want to ask anything or add anything to that.
Why did you start that?
Traumas and hurts and not having the right outlets. And this is a big thing I want to put out there. Addiction does not discriminate, you know? It doesn't discriminate. A lot of time it is broken families and broken things, but it doesn't discriminate. So you never know. It could be any person in here. It could be your son, your mother, your father. Any person in here could fall victim to that mentality and not understand their identity of who they truly are, you know, and start masking with these things that disrupt them, destroy them further. I think that's where the problem is. It's an identity issue. It's an identity of not knowing your true identity, especially in the teenager. You don't even know who you are at that point. Never mind knowing your identity in how God sees. If we could view ourselves the way God sees us, we'd be walking with authority and confidence every day. But the problem is we aren't taught that. So being taught that from a young age, being surrounded by people that teach that is the key, I think.
How'd you get clean and sober, my brother?
Again, I don't want to bring God into it, buddy. I tried 100 times. Went to detox centers, tried 100 times by myself, you know, did programs. None of that really worked, man, until I came to that complete breaking point of losing my family. That complete breaking point. It was past rock bottom, and I found the rock at the bottom, and that was Jesus, bro, for me, to be honest. I was dead, bro. I've been shot at, stabbed, overdosed, and actually smashed in the back of the head, laying down on Barton Street in a pool of my blood, and a bus pulled over and blocked me off so I wouldn't get killed, and they called the ambulance, and they were Narcaning me, everything, nothing was working because it wasn't just an overdose. I was also concussed severely and bleeding out, and I was like seizuring from that, so they didn't know what was going on, and I was like a full out-of-body experience, and that's where I met the higher power, which you would say, right? That's where I met God, man, and then that's where I got that second chance, and when I came back from that, bro, I changed my life fully. I lived differently after that, man, and I had a drive not only to better my life, but now I have a calling and a purpose to serve others and impact other people's lives and other men's lives, to actually direct them in that path. And youth, man, it's not only men, young men. We have Shannon knows some young men that were super trouble, and we've brought in, you know, there's hope, and it's only in one thing, honestly, but we got to direct them and funnel them into these places.
I'm proud of you, Mikey.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, man. It means a lot to me, bro. Awesome. Yeah, and the thing we could do as family or outside bystanders, you know, like you guys said, be that one person that does care. Be that one person that can say, hey, man, you know, there's a different way. And you don't even know how many times that's impacted so many people. What were you thinking, Frank?
Well, I just wanted to know, how can you in your everyday life make an impact?
Right. So next time you guys walk by somebody that you see on the street, like you said, don't give the young people a bad look. Don't give this person a dirty look. Maybe give them 2 minutes of your time. Just 2 minutes, man. 2 minutes of your time. Say, hey, what's going on here? Like, how's your day been? What's been going on? Look at them as a human, not just as a piece of junk or garbage. You know, there's hope for them. They're broken just like every one of us is broken or was broken. And you know, we made it to the other side. Thank God, by the grace of God, made it to the other side. But all these people can make it to the other side as well.
They need the resources.
Yeah, resources. Okay.
So I've been out with you, with people that,
Yeah.
right? And I think a lot of the public are scared to approach people like that, but I've never once had an issue with somebody,
Yeah. That's
whether they're homeless or on addictions, and
That's
you're
right.
so grateful, right? So you don't have to be scared of them.
That's huge. No, you definitely don't, man. You definitely don't. But also use your discernment. You know, you feel something's off. Don't do it. You feel something super sketchy, but 99.9% of the time, that's not the case. They're glad and happy to have someone approach them and be, oh, you see me as a human. It gives them hope. It gives them that reason. There's been so many people. Frank's going to share more, but there's been so many people that just been so impacted by a few kind words and sharing the love from inside of us that God has innately given us and pouring it out to somebody else. Now that impacts their life, then their life is transformed and changed. They impact someone else's, and it's a chain reaction. We've seen that over and over again. We have like over 100 men in our group now that do this a lot. A good portion of them have been broken men that have come from like bottom of the bottom brokenness, and then seeing the faithfulness of God and God using other people around them, and now they're doing that for the next people. And it's been a snowball effect of goodness, a snowball effect of love and kindness, not a snowball effect of negativity and anger and hate. And there is negativity and anger and hate. Don't get me wrong. That will still always happen, whether you're in a church or you're in any setting. But that gets bypassed and overwhelmed by the love of God. And we sort these things out, like you said, not by shooting one another, but by sorting them out with grace towards one another. When you can see grace for others, that's when things change.
All right, so far we've talked about bullying, jail, drug addiction, and next we're going to talk about homelessness. And I'd like to invite up another good friend of mine, Frankie.
Hey everyone. You know, my name is Frank, also ex-addict. The Lord brought me through. And now, with my brother Mike and a couple other fellas, we dedicate ourselves to going out on the street. In our cases, we pray for people and feed them. But amen. To God be the glory, okay? Because what's important here, you know, I was sitting there and I saw a beautiful video. I saw a beautiful video of a beautiful young man. And he said, this video is pointless. But it wasn't pointless. It wasn't at all. He brought a beautiful message. So sometimes we got to realize the good deeds that we can do in our everyday life, in Walmart, at the gas station, in traffic, everywhere you go, you can choose to be kind. And what you think may be pointless, because it's small and tiny and really looks insignificant, could be a game changer for anybody. We're not to judge how much impact we can make with our kindness. We really actually don't really get to see it. One day when you meet your maker, you will get to see it. That's about it, all right? Because that small word of encouragement, that smile, like Shannon said at youth, or that encouragement, or just choosing to be kind, even to those that perhaps the world doesn't think deserve any kindness. Right? And you think, man, you know, it wasn't much what I did, whatever, a word, a sandwich, it doesn't matter what you do, it's a seed. All right? And then the Lord talked a lot about seeds. What do seeds do? They grow. They grow into something. Because what we try to do on the street is show people that there's hope. Because wounds come, abuse comes. This is the evil in our generation, in our society, and it's rampant. Nobody disagrees with that. It's rampant. But What isn't rampant is people having that hope that they can heal from those wounds. That they can be encouraged enough to be the one that brings the kindness to those that are there. See, that's where we need men. Men to show other men how strong they can be and show them what their true purpose is, their true image in God, how they were made, right? We were made to be strong. We were made to hold morals. We were made to hold society together and teach our youth in turn to be kind to others and so on. And with the rampant, fathers not being around for the youth, please know that as a man, and of course as a female too, but as a man, it is important to go find other men. Jesus said it like this: go make disciples. We can say, go find other men to encourage, to bring them up so that they can realize that they too have the strength to bring up others out of whatever situation. All right? So, just like Devin, bringing out a beautiful message on that video, who he thought was pointless. But Devin, God bless you, God rest your soul, it was not pointless. It was a beautiful message. Right? Amen. Right? So let's go do that. Let's stop judging whether it's pointless or not, or whether it makes a huge difference in somebody's life. Just go be kind. If you see an opportunity to be kind to another soul, another human, that it starts right there. And then you'll know, then you'll see it gets addictive. And the kinder you become, you're like, man, this is fulfilling. This feels good. Right? It's not that empty feeling when I used to yell at people, I want to fight everybody, and this emptiness would keep growing in me. And now I try to get joy to bring in me by helping others. I call it therapy. If you're ever depressed, go help somebody. You're in depression, to leave. Right there. All right? Well, listen, guys, yeah.
Can you tell us more about Love on Hamilton?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So I'm very lucky to be a part of an organization that is very grassroots called Love on Hamilton. All right, we meet Tuesday night, Rebecca and John Street. Wednesday night, Barton and Birch. All right, and we go and we just try to be kind to people, not judge them, meet them where they're at, and just offer whatever hope, prayer, food, blanket, right? But at the same time, try to get them to connect and go, listen, there's people that care about you. And you're not just another addict or another homeless guy or another whatever, right? Because like Mike said, I've made bad decisions. And bad decisions can put a hook in you, and now you're in trouble. And now you're in a sickness. And now you're in addiction. Or in a depression. Or whatever the case, we're all susceptible to that, right? But just like everybody can make mistakes, we can show them it's not the end of it. That's not your end identity, right? We've all felt lost, hopeless, until hope came. And it took us over. Amen. And so, Love on Hamilton, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. You don't have to be trained on anything. You don't have to be charismatic to people you don't know. You just have to be available to be kind to somebody. And that's it. That's the qualification. It's so simple, and you'll see it's very fulfilling. And if you can bring others that are struggling, whether in their mental health and depression, and you'll watch them grow out of it. So Love on Hamilton, Tuesday nights at 7, Wednesdays nights at 7. I encourage you to come out, try it out, go make a difference in somebody personally, because again, you won't be able to judge the significance or insignificance of it. It's just go do it. Go be that shining light. The Lord says, let your light shine. So let your light shine on others. We all have gifts. Amen. Thank you.
Awesome. So, homelessness. So, when Mikey, Frank, you probably agree, when we go feed the homeless, they teach me more than my neighbor does or my friends do. I always say to them, okay, I'm giving you this, you gotta give me something in return. Give me some wisdom, give me something. And they end up, like, it's profound. I'm like, oh my, and I needed it at that time. So I had the first tiny home that my girls are here, you remember? I believe it was the first tiny home in Hamilton. So I took my girls to the drive-in and I stopped off at a bank. And on the bank floor was an 80-year-old woman sleeping curled up. And I'm like, are you okay? She's like, by herself. Yeah. So I couldn't leave her there. I sat down with her and it took me like at least 3 days to gain this woman's trust. And she was the sweetest little thing that you can ever meet. She didn't do drugs, didn't drink, not that that matters either, but I'm just saying, 80 years old on a bank floor. What's going on? What's going on? So anyways, I wasn't gonna leave her there. Got to know her, sweetest little pie in the world. Kathleen, I love you. Anyway, so I worked with the Social Navigator program. I put her on missing person sites. And we finally got a hit. And you guys hockey fans here? Yeah, woo. Her brother's Ed Gilbert, NHL star from back in the day. Anyways, so I went on Kijiji because I couldn't bring her in the house. I have a little wartime house with only 2 bedrooms for the kids, but I have a big backyard. So I went on Kijiji and I asked, anybody have a trailer? Anybody have something? First she was in the tent for a while and then it got cold. Peter Scholes from A Shed in the Backyard, so if you want anything built, call him, he's an amazing man. He said, if you can prove to me that you're not just asking for something for free, I said, yeah, I could prove it, come over and see her. Come over and see her. He fell in love with this woman. It's on CHCH News, it's called The Shed Made into a Home in Stony Creek. Anyway, so she lived in this little shed, and she had a bed, she had a dresser, and I couldn't let her into the house, but I gave her a rec pass. So she went there and she showered and she would do push-ups. 80 years old in the backyard. She was in shape. She was doing push-ups in the backyard. My neighbors didn't like it too much, which I don't understand why. Called the police on me, CAS on me. I'm like, it's no different than having a grandma in your backyard. But anyways, you know what I mean? Anyways, after, how long was she with us, girls? Probably 4 or 5 years. So, you know, I'd feed her and everything. Anyways, no, it's not awesome. She did more, see, that's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, that was so nice. She did more for me, just like the homeless. She did more for me than I ever did for her. She taught me things that I will never. Anyway, so put her on the missing person site, found out who she was. Beautiful, beautiful man from the Social Navigators group with the paramedics named Gord. He's retired. He came out, he fell in love with her. Anybody, she would giggle, like all the time. She'd always giggle. She had the cute, I can't do it, but she had the cutest giggle. Anyways, so we ended up finding out who she was, and I got guardianship of her. And guess what, folks? When you look at a homeless person next time, she worked her whole life. She had a pension waiting for her and didn't even know. That's what happens, if you don't have family or friends looking out for you. Worked her whole life. So now she's safe. She's in Graceville Nursing Home, and she is doing awesome. And yeah. And when she was with me, though, she was very, very, very confused. She used to say, Shannon, she's called me, what was my name, Miranda. Miranda, I once had a German Shepherd named Shannon, and she was a prostitute. And I told her, and I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, Kathleen. But now she's completely with it. It was the elements that made her ill. So yeah, just, you know, yeah, we got to help our homeless because, again, it could be like Kathleen. Imagine working your whole life, right? So another topic that I want to talk about, and I want to talk to the public, how I said that youth are really looked down on. There's another group of individuals that I feel are really looked down on, taken for granted, and treated like shit, to tell you the truth, and blamed for everything. And that's our police. And I say to everybody that cuts up the police officers, you know what? You couldn't handle their job for one day. You would break. You would break. They go from a call from seeing a decapitated child, maybe in an accident, from drunk driving, to this, to that, to domestic violence, and everybody's, you know what I mean, calling them pig, you know, like it's their fault that you're making a crime. So I would like to call up our fine police officer that the public needs to respect our officers because they're our protectors and there's only so much that they can do. And we thank you for everything you guys do. Look at that, a criminal and a police officer shaking hands. I love it.
Wow, wow. Okay, that has got to be one of the nicest introductions I've ever had. Okay, so you guys said it yourself. This is great to see. Community working together. This is exactly what I've been pushing for ever since I became a police officer. So I'm born and raised in Hamilton, right at Wellington Wilson Street. I don't know if any of you guys know about that area. St. Joe's Hospital, 125 Wellington Street. That's where I grew up. It's that building that's been painted blue now. Lived around that neighborhood forever. Went to Dr. Davie School, right behind that police station there. And the police visiting my, I'll tell you my story. You know, I tell this story all the time. Why I became an officer. So, born and raised downtown Hamilton. Family were immigrants, moved here in 84. My mom always said it took 1 year for you to get born. So came to Canada in 84, 85 I was born, didn't speak a lick of English because my parents didn't speak it. They said they came to Canada and fell in love with ice hockey. And they said, one thing we didn't realize was why they swore so much in ice hockey. And I was wondering, like, what do you mean swearing? It's like they said, they swore every single time. Over and over again, they kept saying, fuck, fuck, fuck. Fuck, fuck, fuck. I'm like, oh my gosh, Mom. Then they were saying puck. They're passing the puck around. So, as you can tell, I didn't learn English until I got to school. And then eventually started speaking English, and they threw me into English as a second language. So ESL, I don't know if they still have that around anymore, but, so they threw me into ESL. By that point, I was in grade 3 and I already spoke English. So now I'm with a bunch of kids that learning how to say cat, fish, dog, when I already spoke the language. But one thing we didn't do was celebrate Christmas. We didn't celebrate Christmas at our household. It wasn't something, but I fell in love with Santa. I fell in love with the whole idea. So what the police just around the corner used to do were come over to our school, Dr. J. Edgar Davie School, and give us Christmas presents. So this was my relationship with the police. They came over, my understanding was they protected the community, caught bad guys, and then came and saw kids and got us presents. So this, right away in grade 3, I fell in love. I'm like, I'm gonna become a police officer when I grow up. So, grew up downtown Hamilton, so you guys said it yourself, we used to go fisticuffs. Every time you got into anything with anybody, it wasn't how big or how deep your crew was, how strong, how many people you had behind you. No, you had that one-on-one fight with somebody in the numerous alleyways you had in Hamilton. So school would finish and you'd go to that alleyway and you'd go one-on-one with anybody, whoever you had this problem with. Fight ended and that fight was over. That was over after that. You wouldn't be fighting that person again. You guys now had a newfound respect for that person. It ended there. That's what it was. Those times are gone. Those times are gone, 100%. It's all about how deep your crew is, how many people. Nobody fights like that anymore. Not that I'm pushing for fighting. That should not be the direction we go anymore. How many of you have ever done anything nice for somebody before? How many of you guys have done something nice? And you guys talked about it. What does it make you feel? It makes you feel amazing. Yet, it's not contagious yet. People don't do it. But we all know how great it makes us feel. Doing something great for somebody makes you feel amazing. And people just don't keep doing it. Like you said, we don't know what people are going through. We never know what their backstory is. People are all having these battles behind closed doors, and then they are showing a different face when they come out into the public. I think it's the Japanese say we have 3 faces. One we show ourselves, one we show to our family, and one that we show to the rest of the world. And we all have this. We have different characters we play in different places. We need to, when somebody gets hurt, I'm going to jump onto that. When we get hurt, when we break an arm, what do we do? What do we do? Just yell it out. What do we do? Go to see a doctor. We go see a doctor. Why? Why is that? Because we need help. We get a broken arm, we get a broken leg, we seek help. from a specialist, somebody that can help fix us. What we don't do for some reason is when we're hurting inside, the mental stuff. Why don't we seek help when it comes to mental? It's something, it's a stigma. It's a stigma. You don't want to seek help when you're hurting inside. You don't, when you're facing a demon inside, when you something people can't see. You hide it, and you dig it, keep burying it deeper and deeper until it piles up, and then you can't handle it anymore. And that's where this bullying or this being mean to others starts. It starts from there. It's that everything piles up so much that you start looking for somewhere to belong. You want to find somewhere to belong, and that's where you fall into all these traps. You seek drugs, you seek gangs, you seek anything. You seek belonging, and that's what it is. You're seeking belonging, and that's where you become a victim yourself. Yes, you're out there with 5, 10 people that you're hanging out with, but they're searching for something that you're not going to find in the right places. So I myself, some of you who recognize me, I became a police officer 15 years ago. I was a patrol officer downtown Hamilton. I grew up in these streets, so I wanted to be downtown Hamilton because these are the streets that I played tag in. Hamilton Public Library, I played tag with all my friends there. All the buildings, this is where I grew up, so this is where I wanted to police. It's different. It's different from where I grew up. It's very different. Some of you guys said it. The teenagers get left behind. They don't get those presents. They don't have those basketballs. They don't play in the parks anymore, which is what I used to do. It didn't matter if I had nothing to do. I would just go to the park. I'd find somebody with a basketball, say, hey, can I play? There you go. I had a game going. And the game grew and grew and grew, and you'd have more and more people playing. People don't do that anymore. People don't talk to people. They just avoid and walk away from people. And that's what we got to go back to. We got to go back to that type of life where you say hi to people you see, you nod, you smile. Like you said, you guys have said everything I'm going to say. You don't know what that small gesture could do for somebody. Just being noticed, what that can do for somebody. Community, unity, and community. I see these words, you know what? I see these signs everywhere. You have them all around the city. So I grew up downtown Hamilton. Eventually, I was getting into quite a bit of trouble myself. And in grade 7, just when school ended, my parents decided, I gotta get you out of this area because a group of friends you're hanging out with are gonna get you into trouble. So if I take you into a new environment, hopefully that'll change you. And you know what? It did. Thank you, my parents, for that. It changed me. It did. And I'll be probably for only some of you guys might understand. I grew up downtown. I grew up with Vietnamese, every nationality you can think of. Then my parents decided, we're gonna move you out to another area. Move me out to Stoney Creek, as east as you can go before it changes to Niagara. I just had Caucasian people around me, and I did not belong anymore. I was so a fish out of water. There was 3 things I told my parents, oh my God, where did you bring me? And I cannot fit in. And I'll tell you why I couldn't fit in. I didn't skateboard. I didn't smoke cigarettes. And my skin was a few shades too dark. And I couldn't fix those things. Those were non-negotiables for me. I wasn't all of a sudden gonna start skateboarding. It wasn't gonna happen. And as much as I tried to avoid the sun, there was no way I was gonna get any light enough. But anyways, you know, that changed my life. Out of boredom, I started just spending more time in school. Problem was, one of the things that did happen was in grade 8, I started being bullied. So I know the feeling. I know the feeling of what bullying feels like, and I can tell you the truth, it changed me. It did change me quite a bit. So I moved out to Stoney Creek and started being bullied in grade 8. That's where I thought maybe my career in policing was not going to work out. Because one thing I did start doing at that moment was standing up for myself, and it was always physical. And I thought, you know what, I'm one fight away from somebody suspending me, it's going to ruin my career. And so it was a lot. It was a lot to handle. The way, I don't know if anybody had been bullied before. Anybody ever been bullied? Yeah. I described it as this empty feeling in my gut, almost like the butterflies in my stomach. I didn't want to go to school because I knew that's where I was going to be bullied. And there was teachers tried to stand up for me, but they couldn't. They couldn't fix it. Because how are you going to kick How are you going to kick 10 people out of a class? How are you going to kick 15 people out of a class? The class is gone then. For one person, it wasn't something that was going to happen. So this was just push through, and I kept telling myself, it's only grade 8, I just got to make it to high school. I just got to make it to high school where I'll be able to possibly reinvent myself. There'll be a whole new group of people. There's going to be a bunch of schools amalgamating, and I'll be able to make new friends really quickly and reinvent myself. Thankfully, that worked out, and I was able to pursue my career in policing. But all I needed, and this is what I needed, instead of people just, when people were making fun of me, or if somebody made fun of me, the part that, the person saying stuff to me wasn't the part that hurt. It wasn't that one person saying something to me that hurt. It was the audience. It was the audience that made me feel alone. It was all those people watching as I was being bullied. It wasn't the one person, because the one person I could take on, the one person I could always walk away from. And that's how I would describe the bullying, what part hurt about it. It was all the people standing. There was no upstanders. There was a bunch of bystanders. And if I got made fun of and there was any giggles or chuckles, which there were when those jokes were being made, that hurt. That hurt. That was the part that hurt the most. It was feeling alone, that empty feeling. So anyways, back to policing. So one thing I wanted to do when I became a police officer was be that police officer that came to my school for Christmas. So I started doing that. So I started volunteering my time all the time. Volunteering. And unfortunately, my partner wasn't able to be here. There was another officer that was doing the same thing, Ryan Clark. So both of us were volunteering our time on our days off at schools, events, anything. Actually, today is also volunteering. I'm off this week. So we kept coming out to these events and going out and interacting with people, building that unity, building that community, showing that police are not here to put you in jail. It's restore. We got to build this community back up again to where you can leave bicycles on somebody's front lawn, and that's how you know where your friends are. You just walk by, oh, there's all the bicycles. That's where they all are. Because you couldn't call that person. You couldn't call your friends. You didn't know where. If I needed to find my friends when I was growing up down in Hamilton, I would just drive to all their houses, and when I found all the bicycles, I knew that was the house. I'm like, oh, perfect. This is where they all are. And that's how you found them. Otherwise, you just kept cycling around because you couldn't just call somebody and find them. But yeah, so anyways, long story short, so my partner and I were volunteering our time for about 7 years, all over the city, just going all over the place. Anytime somebody needed us, we'd show up, and our bosses started seeing us at these events. Like, hey, are you working? Oh, yeah, I'm working. No, we weren't working. We weren't working at all, but we just kept telling our bosses we're working over and over again until they figured out, hey, these guys aren't working this much. There's no way. And our chief pulled us aside, spoke to our bosses, and had our bosses pull us aside, and a new unit was created. So now I'm in this new unit called Community Engagement. This just started last year, and what our role is building that relationship. Awesome. Yeah, creating these threads again. So this unit, Ryan Clark and I will be in it for the next 5 years. Fingers crossed, this keeps growing, and we start adding more bodies, and we stick in there because Ryan and I feel that nobody else will be able to do it. Yes? No, this is for the city of Hamilton. This is for the city of Hamilton, and we're hoping other services start mimicking it. And so that's what we do. So I don't know if you guys have any of you guys ever seen our mascot, Officer Copy? No? Have you seen it? I'm inside that suit. So when you see that thing walking around, go walk up and say, hey, Indy, is that you? It's me. It's me in that suit. And what that is I created that character 2 years ago because I was finding there was that disconnect with police officers and youth. And it was becoming harder and harder to get that connection with our youth, to get them to come over to us and talk to us. Or if I even approached them, I couldn't get that conversation going. Where back in the day, as much as I used to get in trouble, I still used to wave at the police officers, say, hey, how's it going? Or just do something silly. And that's how it used to be. So I took that on upon myself, so that it looks like Ryan Clark was doing the same thing on bridging that gap. So one thing we couldn't do was get people to come close to us and talk to us. So I decided to create this character, Officer Copy. And now Officer Copy, who's not going to run over to a mascot walking around? This thing is huge. And it's larger than life, that's all I say. So what happens is I usually have an officer with the mascot. And when somebody comes to talk to copy or try to take a picture with them, the officer just has little time just to have that interaction. That could be a father with a kid that he goes, oh, can my son take a picture, or my daughter take a picture with the mascot? The officer's response is right away, how would I take a picture of both of you guys with the mascot? And that's all it has to be. You don't have to have a conversation. It just has to be that little interaction. And that's what they'll remember, that positive interaction. That's all it is. So that's what Ryan and I do. We go around having conversations with people, interacting. So one thing for the youth, if you're looking for programs, anybody comes up, I'm gonna leave my cards behind. If you come up with a cool program, there's something called ProAction. It's police officers with youth, individuals that have at-risk youth. And what we do is, there's funding. There's money available to run programs. So there's people running programs all the time. We actually need, come up with creativity, and please tell us. I will leave my card, contact us, and we'll gladly work with you guys to create these programs for these individuals. We have something called, what is it called? Police Chef, and then where we're teaching kids how to cook. Not like culinary stuff, but stuff that you'd have laying around the house. So if you just have like rice and a few vegetables and something like that, you don't even have to have meat. And they'll teach you how to make stuff with it. And so we have these restaurants we work with throughout Hamilton. We go there on a weekend, so it's like maybe a 6-month program or whatever. And every weekend these kids will come and they'll learn this. There's a lot of creative programs. We'll take a bunch of kids to sports games. It could be something as simple as that. We'll find a bunch of kids that maybe are into sports but they can't get on a team. We'll take them to a bunch of games. We'll take them to the Forge FC games. We'll take them to Toronto Raptors games, Maple Leafs games, just to build that relationship. Yeah, we'll keep doing this. So if you guys come up with something creative, and you're trying to catch a couple hockey games, come up with something that's related, we'll take you with us. We're gonna need volunteers to come too, right? But yeah, so that's all we're looking for. My topic was supposed to be bowling. I didn't put my memory stick in. Here, I'll put that in there. But do you know what? Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions on? Maybe I can open it up. What do you guys want to see from the police when it comes to anything? Let's go. Where do we go?
Do you see a general consensus of the police now trying hard to bridge the gap between the youth and kind of, or is it? Hello.
No,
my question was, do you see now the general consensus amongst the police force to try to bridge the gap with the youth, or do you find it kind of you're trying to sell the idea still, or is it kind of the prevalent idea that's kind of moving?
So the biggest thing we have, the biggest issue we have is we don't have the police officers to go out and do these things. So hence why we had to create a separate unit for Ryan and I to do this. So we're active, we are very, very active out in the community. I think we
Amazing, by the way.
Yeah, just last year alone, and this isn't like when a car passes by when we're doing ride lanes. We always say we're not counting wheels, we're counting cars. We're not counting each car as four cars that pass by. We're actually counting individuals, and we had just over 30,000 people we interacted with, actually talked to and spoke to, and through the whole year. So our goal was to keep building that number up, and that's just 2 officers in a year. In the city of Hamilton, we met 30,000 people and interacted with them. Now our goal is to beat that each year and keep growing that. The problem is, yeah, we can't. It's very difficult because we don't have the officers. We're asking, that's why we're out there going, police officers are hiring, we're hiring. Apply. Because we need the bodies. And the more officers we have on those roads, it gives us that time to be proactive and get that engagement. So when we see, the problem is, another issue is social media. We'd love to post, if we could, every single time we go play in the park with a kid. But if we post it, it looks like we're advertising ourselves. So we try to avoid doing that, because if you guys ever watch any of our posts on social medias, the minute we do something good, they hate what you get on that social media. And what you guys said, it is a tough job. It is a tough job our patrol officers have to do. They see that negative all day. One thing I do, and this is something I've been doing, I'd say probably since I got married, I take about 30 minutes before I walk into my house. So I pull up to my house, I sit in my car for about 30 minutes, I watch something on Netflix, decompress, and then I walk in. Usually Seinfeld, I'm not gonna lie, usually Seinfeld. Then I walk into the house, because I gotta turn off all the stuff I just saw, and I need to understand that Now I'm going into another world. I'm going back into my life where I'm myself. I'm not a police officer here, and I gotta try my best to forget everything I saw in that day. Because yes, we do get sworn at, we hear profanity yelled at us, and we can't react. We spat at, we have a lot of stuff happen. And
I was just
sorry.
saying before,
Yeah, sorry.
it shouldn't be about the views, you know what I mean?
What's that, sorry?
I keep telling my kids, it shouldn't be about the views. If you're gonna do something good, you should do it because it's the right thing to do, and you don't post it, because it's gotten so out of control where everybody's, you know what I mean, they're doing it, and, oh, look at this, but they filmed it, so it's not really a good deed, really, is it?
Exactly, and that's why we
And
try.
I was gonna say with your idea with the character that you created, if you actually maybe put that aside, if you're going to like to appeal to youth, these kids probably have, you know, addicts or have had a lot of interaction with drugs and stuff. You actually just told them that you're going to put the policemen aside and actually relate to them and talk to them and approach them like that. Hey man, like what's up? What's going on? They probably feel more like approachable. Yes. Yeah, like, so maybe not showing up in the uniform and being more casual, like kind of thing, because they're not children, they're youth, right?
So we do that. So we have a unit called our youth engagement team that does not wear the uniform. And what they'll do is they'll be dressed as the social navigator and the risk team. So they will dress in plain clothes. So we will watch our environment. We do our best to watch our environment and where we're going. So if we're going to homes for mental health, we don't want their neighborhood knowing that they're suffering from something, or police are visiting them. So it'll be a plainclothes officer that goes there with a doctor or a nurse that does these visits. So we do our best to do. What's that, sorry? Yeah. Oh yeah. We won't hide that we're police officers. We're not gonna walk up to some kid and just start talking to him. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that problem as clergy. And Jesus said, and I quote, "You will not be loved for your many likes or clicks." Okay, like that, that's not what we're looking for.
No.
And
So like.
Have another idea.
Anyways, long story short, what I was trying to say with our community engagement team, we don't post what we're doing all the time. We're just out there. Like, if I showed 30,000 people that I met, I'd fill that whole thing. But it's tricky. Yes, go ahead.
This is a question to you. I hope that the answer is short and whatever, and maybe Devin's family can answer this. Child being abused at school for a year and a half. Board of Education, useless. Would the police ever get involved to help?
So the way bullying works, so Ryan and I go out to schools and we do these presentations constantly. So what we do is, one of the things we do is we wear these pink shirts, we do a presentation at the schools to stop bullying, and we get these kids to sign this shirt, and we leave the shirts at these schools as they've signed almost like a contract that they're gonna stand up against bullying. That's something Ryan and I do. But anyways, with schools, what happens is the schools are the first. We tell everybody when something's happening, ask for help. Ask your parents, ask your teacher. Yes. And then what we say is, if you are finding that you're not getting the help that you need, and I can't speak to that, and I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't speak because I'm not familiar with the case itself. I was not a responding officer or one of the individuals that worked the case. But the way it works, or it's supposed to work, is school contacts. If it keeps escalating, school is now able to contact police. Now, we used to have school liaison officers a little while back. That's now not something that we don't have the manpower for officers on the road. We need them on the road, so they can't have them in schools. But there's supposed to be an officer there that they contact, and then police get involved and investigate. Now, at 12 years old, past 12 years old and up, bullying changes. The word bullying, the act of bullying, the repetitive actions of what it is, changes to harassment. And now that is an arrestable offense. And that's where police can arrest for criminal harassment. And then we can put stipulations or whatever on that. But like I said, sorry, go ahead.
Go for it. School boards, bullying.
then you are to bring it to the superintendent of that school. Which has happened. And then if you get nothing done there, then you bring it to the director of the school board.
It's the granddaughter. My daughter has done all that, I think, and I could be a little bit wrong. It was a year and a half, nothing through the board.
Okay,
And
so,
it's under 12 years old.
yes. Okay, so,
Where do you go?
Well, let me address that because I have ministers' kids. People love to pick on ministers' kids or corrupt them or both. And we had some particularly difficult years when we were in rural areas. We moved to the city because it's a lot nicer than the country. Country folks are brutal because, you know, you were talking about you weren't white enough for them. We weren't white enough for them. And I'm a cracker, you know. But I hadn't been there 30 years, right? So you're not white enough for us, or you're not from the right bloodline, or God knows, or your kid's a little smart in school and we want our kids to be smarter, whatever it is. And we had one, it was the teacher we found out was finding the problem. And we did all that you have described, right? We went to the principal, who happened to be the brother-in-law of the superintendent. So you can imagine how that went. And so we finally wound up with the director of education, and we said to the director of education, we understand there's nepotism here. We understand you don't want to do anything. Here's the deal. We're going to drive our kid to the other school. There's another school, and our kid is going to go to the other school. Or we're going to make your life very difficult, because one of my favorite biblical passages is the importunate widow. There is the unjust judge who neither likes people nor fears God. And the unjust judge says, I don't want to give this widow what she deserves. Her brother-in-law has bought me off, but she keeps bothering me, and she's going to wear me out. And mostly, I find with this stuff, we are afraid to keep at it because people aren't going to like us, or they're going to get tired of us, or they're going to push us down. And it's the old phrase, the nail that sticks up will be pounded down. But we need to be the nail that sticks up, and we need to make them pound us down, and we need to protect the children involved, which was the way to do that was simply to say, listen, we're not here to sort this out. You just give us permission to go somewhere else, and we're going to pull out of this mess, because I put these through a table saw, and I can assure you they heal, but they don't grow back. Okay? Like some things you get, I'm not getting, this finger's not coming back, and you can imagine a minister who that took a lot of years of therapy, that I wasn't running around like this. Okay? And I did put the therapy in for that. But stuff gets broken, and sometimes you just gotta move along. And what is it that one great funeral director told me one time? Even the good Lord don't get them all. So you're not always going to win. So pick your battles and cut your losses, and do for your granddaughter what you know is you want her to be safe, right? That's the big thing. Make her safe.
It's pretty sad.
It is.
When a child is being
Yep.
bullied,
Yep.
the board has done nothing. Maybe the answer is the kid should go somewhere else. What
Yeah.
about the kid that's doing the bullying?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a battle you're going to win.
So thank you so much to our officer. We have something on behalf of the public. And to answer your question, so there's a new program coming out. Adults are trying to deal with teenagers and kids bullying. That's not going to work. I'm sorry. It never has. That's why we haven't solved it. So this is my idea. Okay. We get my little bad ones that are doing the signs, the little gangsters, you know how they walk, you know? We get them, and it's nothing illegal, quote me if I'm wrong, but it's worked before. We have a young girl here my girl here. Anyways, so we get the gangsters to pull up in their car, 2 or 3 cars, right? Blaring their music, blah, blah, blah. The bully kid comes out, they prop him. All the other kids are like, oh, they're hanging out with the gangsters. Better leave this one alone. And I guarantee it's gonna work. They're not threatening anybody. They're not doing anything wrong. And you know what? Buy the kid a pizza. Buy the kids a couple of pizzas. And you know what? That's gonna work. Because kids will solve other kids' issues.
Give it a try. Yeah, hey, listen, whatever works. Like, if that's going to give that individual credibility and help them stand out and get them to belong somehow, get the other people to accept them, hey, listen, give it a go. Give it a go. That's not illegal to have a group of kids come and high five another kid. And by the time the blaring music and police get there, you'll probably be gone.
Exactly. So we get the kids to solve the kids' issues, right? Because you know what? If those bullies, they pull up and you know what I mean? Some kids get bullied and you got 4 or 5 cars blaring the music. You know what I mean? And a gangster walking up, they're going to be like, ooh, better not mess with this kid. But they're not doing anything illegal. So use kids to solve kids' problems. Thank you so much for that. I have another police officer. He's not working as a police officer at this moment, but I've known this dude since I was in grade 9. Much respect to him, and again, speaking about what the police go through as well, I'd like to call up Billy Aragon.
So, much respect to this officer here. He's been on it 15 years. Still got the pie in the sky and all that. I'm the dark side of policing. I'm the 30-year veteran that's got PTSD. I've probably been to more dead bodies than you'd want to see in a lifetime. Children, adults, hangings. I've spent 12 Christmases in a row pulling dead bodies out of trees. From in front of trains, from under trains. And it doesn't go away. I got to the point where I couldn't flip that switch anymore when I got home. It cost me 2 wives, 10 years with my children, and a whole lot of hurt. But there's hope. You know, like there's programs out there for us if you find the right person, but the system's broken. The system's broken on all aspects, not just for you guys, because there's nothing for us. And now our federal government, in our infinite wisdom, is ending all funding to youth programs for mental health as of 2027. But we keep giving our money away. And I gotta stop. Brother, I just picked you up on Instagram. I watch you all the time, so you're awesome. I had to say it. I had to say it. So yeah, so it's really bad out there. And the scary thing is it's gonna get worse. Because people are getting more and more broke, they're getting more and more desperate, and the system's not helping. It's just, it doesn't help. You know, I know Army guys and veterans, and I've got buddies from the States that are veterans, and they're hurting, and they're addicts, and they're looking for other ways. The days of policing of old, when we used to stop somebody, and we used to fight a lot. Like, I mean, we started fighting Thursday at 7, we stopped fighting Sunday morning at 7:30. And the whole weekend we spent fist fighting. That's the way it worked. But we would talk to them after. We may win, we may lose. We generally won because there was more of us. But you talk to the person after. Same with like you guys talked about earlier. Like if you have beef with somebody, you sort out the beef, you sit with them. I can't tell you how many people that I arrested, I took to the station, and I'll stop and buy him a coffee on the way to the station because I know he's only getting a cheese sandwich when he gets in there and water out of the sink that comes from the toilet, right? And everybody's got a story, right? I don't care if you're the lowest of the low, the richest of the rich, everybody's got a story, and they have a right to be heard. And stuff like this I've spoken at PTSD conferences because I don't look like I've got PTSD, but I do, and it's bad, right? And everybody else that has it, I guarantee you all have it to a certain degree, because if you've been with any trauma in your life, you need help. And there's people out there that want to help. I got into policing because I truly wanted to help. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about power, because I didn't give a shit about power. The only person in my life that had power was my grandmother, because she beat me with a shoe. Right? Ty and I talked about this, man. Like, I'll tell you, my dad was a big dude, and my dad never laid a hand on me, and I was decent sized my whole life. All he ever had to say was, do I need to give you one? I didn't know what one was. It could have been a pony, right? But I didn't want one. And he goes, or he'd say, I'm telling your grandmother. That was worse, right? But that was old school values. We had old school values. I grew up down the street from my grandparents, who grew up around the corner from my aunt and uncle. You couldn't do a thing in our neighborhood without somebody finding out. And if you didn't carry your neighbor's groceries home, the old Italian lady across the street, you got a beating when you got home because your grandmother's waiting for you with a shoe, right? It was respect. There was respect back then. Even between cops and criminals, there was respect. We'd get in it with you, we'd get in a little dust up. Back in the day, we had big old Donnybrooks, and you know that. But we dust each other off. It's like, you know what, dude? You took it like a champ. Whichever way it went, it is what it is, right? But that respect with these young guys is gone now. The kids don't get what we've been through. They need to see it. My dad was at home. Your dad home? Your dad was home, right? They're not home no more. And that's where the problem comes, because you have mothers, and God bless them all, but they are not going to teach a young man how to be a man better than a man's going to teach that man, right? It doesn't work that way. And they need to be taught how to be respectful, how to be men, and grow up as a man. First rule of man, you never lay hands on a woman, ever. Ever. Right? But they don't realize that. How many videos you see on social media? A group of young men beating up a girl. And everybody videotapes it, but nobody helps. Where's the men at? I've commented on stuff all the time. I've been shadow banned so many times on social media, I can't even tell you. Where's the men at? You're going to videotape it, but you're not going to step in? You're not a man. You're a coward. Right? I don't care if you step in and take a beating. Take the beating for a woman. Right? Keep your hands off. Bullies are the same thing. A buddy of mine told me when I got into policing a long time ago, sometimes good men have to do bad things to bad people. I was the guy that did bad things to bad people. Because back then, it wasn't even getting away with it. We knew what the line was, but we were respectful. I always gave somebody a chance. Said, look, you know what, dude, I gotta arrest you. This is what happened, that's why I'm here. And no matter what, they always yell at you when you get to their house. They scream at you. Dude, I didn't call you. You called me. Why are you yelling at me? I came here because somebody called. If I want to get yelled at, I'll call my ex-wife. Like, I don't want to hear you, right? But I said, listen, you're going to get arrested, but I'll tell you what, I'm not going to disrespect you in front of your wife and kid. I'm not going to put handcuffs on you until we get to the car. I'm going to walk you out of here like a man. You act like a man. You want to act the other way, I'll drag you out by your hair. And then you're going to look foolish in front of your neighbors and your child, right? But I'll walk you out, I'll sit you in the car, I'll put the cuffs on because they got to go on, we'll get a coffee, we'll go to the station. You're going to get out, we're not going to hold you because back in the day we didn't hold anybody. They were out within a couple of hours. Now, inside out, like they don't even go to the station no more. We don't have the opportunity to talk to these people anymore. We need that. We need policemen that are mentors, that are going to take the time and deal with these people. Because I don't care if you're 12 or you're 22 or 52. I need to be able to speak to you. Whether it's you, you're having issues with the marriage, whether it's you having issues with your man, right? Bullies, racism, all of it. We need to impart wisdom. The problem is we're hiring kids. What does a 22-year-old kid going to tell you about 50 years of marriage? Not a fucking thing, pardon my French, right? But we forgot those values, and the problem we're having now is we can't get the bodies. In Brantford, we had 15 spots for April's class. We had 8 people apply. They hired all 8. Guess how many were good? 0. How many people have been in a fight? None of them. Well, you better get in one, because in Brantford, you deal with 2 types of people. People that want to kick your ass, people that hate you, and people want to kick your ass. That's the way it works. Right? If you've never been hit, how do I know how you're going to react if we go to a call and you get hit?
Not very good backup either.
I didn't want him there. I didn't want extra eyes there. But the problem is our backup. In Brantford, we ran the city of Brantford. How many people do you think are on the road in Brantford? All police officers for the city of Brantford at any given time. What do you think?
25.
Numbers? 15. If we were low, we ran the entire city with 9 guys. We get a gun call, there's no guys. We have gun calls, they won't call our team in. It costs money. I did the other side, I also did our version of Coast. I was a mental health guy. I spent shift after shift after shift at the hospital, no relief. And you think there's mental health issues in Hamilton? Come to Brantford. I think we import them. But it's back then, there was a place for them. Now there's nothing. Mental health programs run from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. When do people usually have issues? 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday night. There's nothing for them, right? And they don't belong in jail. So groups like this is fantastic. And like I said, I love the good side of policing. I haven't had that for a long time. Because after a while, all the governmental overreach, all those things, the political stuff, it gets to you to the point where you truly do want to give up. And it's hard not to. But when people like this come together and everybody kind of leans on each other and they put ideas forward, will the brass listen? I'll be honest with you, as a 30-year vet, they don't really care what you have to say. They don't. They will tell you they care what you have to say. Like our programs, it comes down to money. It's dollars and cents. So if it's going to cost them money and take bodies off the street, it ain't happening, right? Because they can't even fill the seats they got now in the police cars. Like there's cars sitting empty every night because guys are off sick and guys are off hurting and guys, I can tell you, like in my case, Ty and I talk and keep it real. And again, I talk about my PTSD because I don't talk about anybody else's. It's not my place. I was 12 years on the job before I realized I had a problem. And I had a friend that owned a cafe in Brantford, and I went to see her. I said, Michelle, like I'm in a bad way. My marriage is on the rocks. And we went and sat. She closed the cafe. We sat and watched the movie. And I don't know what the fuck got into me, but I got up and I walked in the coat room in the back of that cafe of hers, and I found an electrical cable, and I put it around my neck, and I sat down and I hung myself. Thank God she found me. She got me down. And I can talk about it freely now because I'm retired, but she wouldn't call an ambulance because she didn't want me to lose my job. And then, so I finally, for me, I share my story because I'm not the only one. There's more of us, man. There's more of us out there than there are that are healthy. And we're there every day fighting what we can do to stay out there to keep people safe because we love the people. You know, and I watch stories, and I watch Dylan's story. It's heartbreaking because it could have been prevented. It could have been prevented, but nobody stands up to do anything. There's no men, right? And then when I made it through all my career, the very last day before I went off with PTSD, I was having a great day, got in the police car, and went blank. I'm sitting staring out the window. Radio's calling. They're calling me on the radio. My buddy knocks on the window of my police car. Couldn't hear him. Didn't even know he was there. So I'm sitting there staring out, just blank, just like it's. He knocks on the window again, and I look up at him, and I had tears rolling down my face. And he goes, "You can't fucking be here." And that was my very last day, October 17, 2016. That's the last time I sat in a police car. And now, I talk about it. I've talked at conferences about PTSD because my background, I'm a fitness athlete. I've been 2 and 3 in Canada for over 50 for the last 3 years for men's physique. And I don't look like PTSD. I don't have long hair. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I train other people to teach them how to be healthy. I do this, right? There is ways out there. And you guys, love to you guys, like the guys that got clean. You guys are amazing, bro. Like I've dealt with so many addicts. My aunt was an addict growing up. My niece is an addict. The fact that you guys do what you do, much respect, because there's not enough people like you guys around to do this stuff. Because if anybody's going to listen to people that have those issues, it's not going to be us. They're not going to listen to me because I don't know what it is to be an addict. They're going to listen to you, and they'll trust you. They don't trust the police. They don't. They've never have. Not since we were kids. Not since you were a child. We've never trusted the police. And I didn't want them to trust me. I didn't even want them to like me. But they respected me because I took the time. Officers like him didn't exist back when I started. They didn't go to talk to people. Because the powers that be didn't care because we didn't have money. You're out there solving crime. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. Writing friggin' parking tickets is not solving crime. You got a uniform on, you're a warm body in the street, you're putting people away. That's how it works. We have special people that do that. You can pay civilians to write parking tags. But what people don't realize when they talk about quotas and stuff, we do have quotas. 1 charge a day to stay above water and not get in trouble. 2 charges if you want to be left alone. 2 charges a day, which is 6 parking tags. And some guys break their 6 parking tags and then they go home. I never wrote a parking tag in 30 years. there's nothing going on out there. I don't have to stick it to good people to make a career, right? But I'll tell you, all those people that, I applaud the officers that do their best for these programs, I really do. And to have that heart to do that, I lost mine. Because now I look at the other side of society, that's all I dealt with. And looking like this, it wasn't hard to find those people, right? And respect is often earned. They say respect is earned. It truly is. And I've dealt with officers and I've listened to officers talk to people, and they don't even have respect for the people that they deal with that are victims. These young kids, unless they're texting, they have no idea how to carry on a conversation with anybody. They won't even look you in the face. I'm like, dude, I know my shoes look great, but what the fuck are you looking at? I'm up here, right? It's a telltale to me when I can look at you or I can look at Ty or Shannon. I can look you in the eye and we can have a conversation as a man. I don't trust somebody that can't look me in the face because they're either going to stab me or they're going to hit me or both, right? Thank God I've never been stabbed or shot, close a couple times. But that's the reality of today, is people don't fight no more. They'll come at you 5 or 1 and somebody still will stab you, right? And for us, it hurts. I've broken bones, I've pulled muscles, I've done anything you can imagine, chasing people. It's not like that anymore. There's no respect for this young generation, there's none. So if they're not afraid of other people, they're not even afraid of their parents. Why are they going to be afraid of us, right? We have to bring that fear back. I know it sounds horrible, but fear is a thing. People will not do things when they are afraid, right? You've seen it. You've seen it growing up. We've all been witness to it. If you were afraid, whether it was justified or not, I didn't want to do nothing. Like I wouldn't. My dad, he's 85 years old now. I still wouldn't mess with him because he'd probably stick a finger in my eye or something just to piss me off, right? Right. But see, my family grew up European, and there was a hierarchy. And no matter what, everybody answered to my grandmother. From my dad right on down the line, right? And for me, I was fortunate. I grew up good. I grew up dirt poor, but I was safe and healthy, right? But that's why I got into policing when I was 25 years old, and everybody said, you ain't gonna get into policing, you're a white guy. There's no way you're gonna get hired in policing now, because back then, that's the way it was back then. Well, I got in, despite everybody saying, no, you're not going to do it. So you want to talk about hate, and like, I was discouraged by my own family. All the friends I had growing up are no longer my friends. Don't talk to me. Not that nothing's changed, because I chose a career, right? You want to talk about how people hate on people? Have you ever walked through a complex of people and have a little 2-year-old in a shitty diaper look at you and go, hey, pig. Hey, why are you here? Why are you here, you fucking pig? 2 years old. It's like, dude, you say that again? If your kid says that again, I'm gonna punch you in the face. Right? So that's kind of my spiel. That's what I talk about. But what I'll do is, we've had kind of the warm and fuzzy questions. If anybody's got any questions they want to ask that they might not get answered normally, like with the filter and all that, I don't have to filter nothing anymore. I'm retired. So you want to know what it's like? I'll tell you how it is. But if you ask a question, be prepared for the answer, because you might not like it.
So I'm a trainer as well, and I understand the importance of like physical discipline, especially with mental health and overcoming mental health, right? What do you feel about part of the solution being training the younger men or the youth, having something with the police in a physical discipline, like a mixed martial art of some sort, or a self-defense, whatever you guys are taught, training that to the youth to teach them discipline and respect, along with, they'll build confidence and accomplishment and all that stuff. Do you think that could go south, or do you think that would have a net positive?
It could go either way. Like, for me, I can tell you, how many of you look around and you see a police car, whatever you drive by, and you see a big old bag of donuts sitting in that police car, right? Drinking a coffee, eating a cruller, whatever he's eating, right? We don't have to pass fitness once we're hired, ever again. Why not? Job hasn't changed, it's actually gotten worse. So why is there not a yearly fitness standard for us? So how am I going to get you to respect me if I'm a big pudgy dude with shit all over my uniform, right? Instead, I do what I do to the way I look, because that brings respect to that uniform. I've never had anybody step to me, but they'll step to the guy next to me because his pants are dirty, or they'll step to the female beside me, and I'll tell you, she'll kick his ass, right? Because I work with some fantastic female officers. There's good and bad in every officer. Like, I mean, I had some really great female partners that I wouldn't mess with. I've had some really lousy male partners. It's like, stay home, I'd be safer without you, right? It's like that in any job, right? But as far as mixed martial arts, for discipline, fantastic. I've got some buddies that train at high level. The biggest thing is the discipline. Will they commit to it? And that's the problem that we see, like I've seen even doing with the stuff that I've done, with training the clients I have, I can't even get adults to commit to give me 3 weeks, right? So to get the kids to commit, if the parents are on board, I think you got a chance. Because a lot of times it comes down to money, like everything else. If we could do something for them that was cheap or free, or we put money into those programs instead of stuff that nobody goes to anyway, yeah, I think it's because when you start getting hit, you learn that it hurts. You don't want to get hit. Well, you're less likely to hit somebody else when you know what it feels like to get hit. If you're the bully that's never been hit, guess what? You don't know what it's like to get hit. When you're the guy that hits the bully that hasn't been hit before, it sucks for you, right? Like, dude, I grew up as a hockey fighter. I was a terrible hockey player, but I could fight, and that's what was my claim to fame. Even at university, I was terrible, but I could fight. It was either mixed martial arts or policing back then, because everybody fought in policing. That's the way it was. You know what it was like back in the day. You never went to jail. You went under the bridge. You took a beating, we took you home. That's the way it was. Right. Walk home. Think about your mistakes, right? Now, you raise your voice at somebody, you're up on charges. Right? It's a different age, and I understand adapting, we have to change. But you can't forget the old school values, man. Family is number one. And family is the biggest thing that's changed the most since I've been on. I've never seen so many single-family parent homes in my life. And with that come the problem kids that she talks about. They're not problems. They've got no guidance. You got a mother that's working 3 jobs. She's never home. Her kids are being raised by their oldest child because she's got nobody to watch them. And everybody gets angry at her because she's never home. Well, she's got to work 3 jobs just to survive. Right? The system is broken, and until they start fixing the system, nothing's going to change. It's not going to change.
I got a question. With your PTSD, what do you find?
Right. Sorry.
What do you find is your best tools that you use for your PTSD and coping skills?
I fail a lot. I'm not going to lie. I train almost every day. Diet certainly helps. I can tell you, and I'll be, again, no filter honest, I do not sleep at night unless I medicate. I can't sleep unless I medicate. I tried that last week once. I was out driving around at 5 o'clock in the morning because I started getting claustrophobic. It's horrible. And I'm telling you, I'm 1 Ativan and 1 Zolpidem just to get 4 hours of sleep a night. That's it. And I hate being on, I've tried everything, man. I've tried melatonin. I might as well smoke a bowl of meth because it kept me up for 3 days. But a lot of that stuff works the opposite for me. I've only found 2 things that help me. I've tried meditation. Cold plunge, I've tried saunas, I've tried all that shit. I'm starting to put things together now a little bit. It's been a long time. No hot tub or anything hot before bed because that keeps me up, right? So it's the opposite of what you think it would be. It doesn't work that way. But it's just, they teach you what's called box breathing. As a sniper, they call this tactical breathing, right?
It's my favorite.
Right, and sometimes it works, sometimes not so much. But if you have real bad PTSD, mine was complex PTSD, I'll wake up out of a dead sleep with the hair up on the back of my neck at 3 o'clock in the morning. I used to live in Mount Hope. I don't know if you guys know where Mount Hope is, where the airport is. I used to live out there. I'd put music on. I'd walk all the way to Upper James and Rimo and all the way back to Mount Hope at night because it was horrible, right? And the cars are whizzing by me and I'm walking on their shoulders I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck are you doing, dude? You're going to get killed. But sometimes that thought does enter your mind because you get to the point, and the term that I use as a negotiator, because I was a hostage negotiator as well, hapless and hopeless. And you get to that point where there's nothing left. And you want to talk about losing it all. So you get nobody goes into a job thinking that people are going to hate you for the rest of your life. Nobody goes into a job thinking, I'm going to have a great day today. You know it's going to suck. You know there's a good likelihood you're going to get punched in the face, you're going to get spit on, you're going to get shit thrown at you, especially on the weekends. Bunch of liquid courage, they want to fight everybody that's out there, right? And I said for years, you know what, let's criminalize alcohol, let's legalize marijuana. I've never had to fight with anybody that smoked a joint. throw them a bag of Doritos, they're in the back of my car, I drive them home. Right? They're happy as hell, they're your best friend. Right? But like I said, with the PTSD, like I'm looking at these guys, and as soon as they walk in the station, their face goes red. You know they're masked. You know they shouldn't be there, but they won't admit. And it's the stigma that they talked about earlier. The stigma of PTSD is very alive. And whether Brass wants to admit it or not, if you tell them you've got it, you're done. If you even hint that you got it, you're done. And the first thing they do to make you feel great about it is they take away your gun. Because if you got PTSD, you got to be suicidal. I had that one incident when I was still working. I've never ever, because it is the most selfish thing you could ever do, because my kids were alive. I don't want my kids to live the rest of their lives saying, why? Or his dad killed himself. Because he couldn't handle it. It's got nothing to do with handling shit. Let me tell you that. I handle a lot of death and destruction, man. And it does not have anything to do with that. It's because there's nobody there for you. My wife didn't like my career.
We're here for you now, brother.
And I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
So Billy and I were talking that we should start up a PTSD support group in person. So maybe that's another idea that we can get going here, right? So it's so cool just seeing all different perspectives from different people, different walks of life here tonight. And another thing that I think we're all passionate about, who's passionate about protecting kids? Oh, see, I get goosebumps every time. Who also knows how many missing children are going daily, gone, little kids, teenagers. Who knows what, that child trafficking is actually higher than drugs these days. And it goes from all walks of life, from people you would never think to everyone. Anyways, a round of applause for a man that protects our children in a legal way, Bam Bam Andrews.
So my name's Ray, AKA Bam Bam. I'm a survivor of sexual assault and trauma that goes with it from the hands of my father. My trauma started for me when I was 4 years old. Unfortunately for my sisters, it started a lot sooner. There were 6 kids in my family, and my father went through all of us, other family members as well. I was the baby. I took it the worst. For me, it was the daily, sometimes more than once. There was nothing pretty about it. For me, he stole my childhood. I lived my life through dissociative disorder for years. I disassociated for years. I failed grade 2. For me, that's when he started to have sex with me in grade 2. And that's when it got bad. I peed the bed until I was 14 to try to avoid it from fear. And he would come to me at nighttime and put my face in the sheets like a dog, and then make me have a shower. He'd rape me in the shower. He'd rape me after the shower. Didn't matter. And I lived my life like that. And through my whole life, I wore the mask. I lived in that shame, I lived in that blame, and I lived in that fear. Today, I don't live in that shame, I don't live in that blame, and I don't live in any fear. Zero. My sisters charged my father when I was 17 years old. They came to me and told me. And when I was 17, I got the name Bam Bam because for me, I used working out as my vent. And I became big and strong. I used anabolic steroids at a young age. I had football scholarships for everywhere in Canada. I was benching 400 pounds in high school. I was deadlifting up 500-600 pounds. I could squat. It was insane. But it was my vent. And that was my escape. But I didn't have any family to back me up. I didn't have a male role model. My mother knew. She never protected me. Nobody ever helped. So from there on, I didn't go to university. I didn't have the grades. My dad was never there to help me. I didn't have that dad help me throw a ball. Didn't have a dad help me do anything. I didn't want my dad around me. So with that being said, I never got to play football, and I turned to drugs, alcohol, cocaine, free-base cocaine, drank every day, didn't care. It was my escape. It was for the first time in my life, besides working out and playing football, I found somewhere that I felt good. I could hide. The pain was gone. I was high. Days went on and days. I could stay high for days. With that all being said, I started working the bars, started selling the drugs, became my best customer, got worse, ran with the wrong people, tattoo on the head, I'm sure you could figure where I was, and wasn't on the right path. Thank God I never wanted to kill myself. I never once tried to commit suicide, never thought it. Even though the hell I walked through and went through in life, I was strong enough not to do that. So my father got sentenced with my sisters. He got out, I think he got 2.5 years. He got out in a year and a half on good behavior. And my mother took him back. And I left home. And the drugs continued, the alcohol continued, the booze continued, the downward spiral continued. I met a woman in the bar, ended up having children. Thank God I broke the cycle that my father did to me. But the booze and alcohol, the drugs, ruined. I lost my wife, I lost the house, I lost the car, she took the kids. And I got clean after. I started getting clean. Because of that, I needed help. I started asking for help. I was in my 30s, 28, 30s. And I decided that it was time to face reality and face my father and face my demons. And I ended up charging my father. And because it was a historical, I had to do a video statement. And I went into the police station, Niagara Regional Police Station, Welland, Ontario, in my 30s. Now, I was a big jack guy, I had a mohawk, it was a lot different than then. I was 25, 30 years old, right? I'm 54 now. And I did a 4-hour video statement with that little boy. I just let that little boy talk for 4 hours inside me and released everything I had. Cried, screamed, you name it. And when we went to court, my father was pleading not guilty. And when I walked into the courtroom, my father had a different last name than me. And he had a lawyer that was representing him that was a friend of mine. And I stood up in the courtroom and I said to the judge, I said, listen, my father's pleading not guilty. I'd like to have 5 minutes alone with him. And the judge looked at me and she said, well, we can't do that, sir. I thought I was going to kill him or something, right? I said, no, I just want to talk to him. I said, him and I both know what happened between us. And I want to talk to him before this courtroom has to see what happened to me. How many times he raped me, how many times he made me do things, how many times I don't want anybody to see it. So that, you know what, the judge let it happen. We went into a room, they put me in handcuffs. They brought the judge, they brought the lawyers, they brought police officers, Crown Attorney, and myself and my father across the table from me. And for the first time in my life, I got to look my dad in the eye. And that monster of a man was a weak little piece of crap. And that's when the power started for me. That's when I started gaining the strength, right? I looked him in the eye and I said to him, I go, Dad, for the first time in your life, I want you to be a father. Protect me like you should have when I was a little boy. But you never did. I said, there's a 4-hour video statement I don't want all these people to watch. I said, you're pleading not guilty. If you plead guilty right now, they don't have to watch this and it'll be a different outcome. And I'll try to find it in my heart to forgive you. And like I said, I watched that man who was a monster for me for 10 years go underneath that table, cry, beg, scream like I used to as a little boy for forgiveness. Well, I found it in my heart somewhere to forgive that man that day, grace of God, and I actually picked him up from underneath the table, gave him a hug, told him I loved him, and I let him go. And I released him. And that day right there was the day that my healing started. Now, don't get me wrong, I still slipped, I still fell, I still did drugs, I still ran, I still wore the mask, I still did it all. But my healing started. I looked at life a little bit differently. Then I started seeking help and asking for help. Going to rehab, I went to rehab. I went to Homewood. I was clean 18 months after I got out of there. Failed. Clean again, another 2.5 years. Failed. Living with that monster, with those demons inside still, right? Living in that fear, blame, and shame still, right? Couldn't look myself in the mirror. But when I was high and drunk, I didn't have to care about anything. So one day, like I said, I had my kids still. Wife left me, took the house, took the car, took everything, right? Like the sheriff showed up at my house actually with a key that I had to take, he impounded my car. Then next was the house. The wife left. She started over. I finally got clean and sober long enough that she took me back. So the wife and I are back together. My kids are now 27 and 28. My son graduated from university with a football scholarship. My daughter went to McMaster. She quit McMaster and she works full-time as a national sales rep for a big company. My wife and I are back together. We still struggle. We still have our moments, right? But you know what? We're a work in progress. I love her. She was the very first person I ever told my secret to. And she's been a great backup. Even though my PTSD, the gentleman over there told her how many failed marriages we have and stuff like that. She's been strong enough. She's a warrior. She's lasted through the hell that I put her through and back. And thank God, she still loves me, right? I don't know how, but she still does, and she's still here. And thank you, Melissa. I love you. And we love you, brother. And so today, I am no longer, like I said, I don't live in that shame, blame, or fear anymore. I gave all that away. That day in court when I did that with my father was, like I said, the day of healing started. And I passed that back to him where it belonged. So, a few months ago in Welland, Ontario, there was a little girl that got injured in Welland. A male broke into her house, middle of the night, raped her so badly she had to have surgery. And when that happened, it sparked something in me, fire lit. And I went to the court date for the pedophile. And there was a huge people there, and out of the blue, somebody asked me to speak. I've never spoke. I used to go on the Facebook and internet, and we talked about medicine. I use cannabis as my medicine for PTSD. I don't use any big pharma. I don't use anything like that. And I used to go on internet and I'd share smoke. That's what I would call it. I would share smoke and I'd share my stories about whatever. But after this happened to Lee, I got off the court date and went and stood there to support her. And I got asked to speak. And it was the first time I ever spoke with a microphone in a crowd. And I told my story. And when I got off, we're sitting on a bench. I had men, women, children come up to me. Complete strangers hugging me, saying, "Me too, thank you for the strength that you just showed. You've given me the strength." And since that day, I've been making, like we spoke about, videos and likes and clicks. Well, the youth is all about internet right now. That's all they do. Like you said, that's all they do. They walk around with their phones like this. So I started making videos, Bam Bam Andrews, on Facebook. And I would share my story, the struggles I have with PTSD, how my father abused me. Just share. I stopped sharing smoke because they kept taking my videos down, right? So I just share. I speak from my heart, and I tell my stories, the traumas that I have to go through. I'm a huge believer in counseling. I go to counseling. I've also been clean and sober almost 16 years, by the way. All right. I've gone to counseling almost 20 now. So this is why I can do what I can do today and speak without that shame, blame, and fear, because that's what keeps us men down, right? When we're sexually abused, We live with that, you know, people are looking at me like, oh, that guy was dirty. Oh my God, his dad did that to him. That's what I lived with my whole life, right? And then you talk about bullying. I made a video that actually I was at my counselor's. I go to counselors every week. I still see a counselor every week. I love my counselor's appointments. It's given me the strength to be the man I am today. And I was at my counselor's appointment. We were talking about bullying. I said, I remember going to school, and I'd wake up in the morning after peeing to bed and being abused and everything like that. And I'd race out of my house because I wanted to get away from my dad. I didn't want to be abused again, right? And I'd go to school, sometimes smelling my pee because I wouldn't shower. And then the bullies would start, the girls, right? They're not knowing what I went through at home. So I wasn't safe at home. I wasn't safe at school, right? I wasn't safe anywhere. I couldn't go to my mom. I couldn't go to my sisters because, you know, my sisters were being abused too. And there was incest involved too with us. So we still don't have a family life. My sisters and I, it's very uncomfortable to be around each other sometimes, most of the times. My brothers too, right? So what I'm trying to say is there's hope and there's a way out of this, and this is it right here, by sharing, talking, knowing that there's other men, women, children out there, that we're not alone anymore, that we don't have to be alone. And when this movement started, that I started making these videos, I had people reaching out to me, complete strangers, you, anybody. Hey, it happened to me too. Police officers would show up, come talk to me. It happened to me too. So I'm talking about the rallies that we have and these events. And I just share from my heart, like I said, about my personal experiences and what I have to go through. But when I started these going all over the place, that's the PTSD and the dissociation kicking in. So I'm grounding, like if you're watching me, I'm looking around the room and I'm doing my tools, right? From the counter. So what I started doing, as we all know, pedophiles, human trafficking, organ harvesting is a huge, huge problem in this region. Where I'm from, almost every day you can go to the courthouse and you can look at the registry and you can see 10 people arrested, child trafficking, pedophilia, sexual assault, trafficking, whatever. So what I started doing is I started legally having protests, legal protests in the neighborhoods where the pedophiles reside. And what I do, see, when my father got out early on good behavior, when I charged him, he got 18 months. He got out 9 months good behavior. He got out early for my sisters and then got out for me. And when he got out for me, like I said, my mother took him back again. And then she passed away, he met somebody else. So this is where I'm gonna go with this story, how I get to where I am. When he got out on good behavior, I found out he met somebody else, another woman. I found out where he lived. I went there, swimming pool in the backyard, bunch of kids. For me, a swimming pool was a nightmare. So I told the lady of the house, my father is a 3-time convicted pedophile, registered. Shouldn't be around kids. She didn't care. They didn't care. And the weird thing about it was the lady was sick like my mother. My mother was a very sick lady before she died. She deserved it. It's her karma. And I forgave my mother after everything, but long story short, he got out early, so I found out where he was. I went there, and I put him on notice, what it's called. This is what I do now. I put posters up on the telephone poles. Convicted pedophile, beware, convicted pedophile lives in this area. Please keep your children safe. And I put them on every poster in this neighborhood. And then I started yelling, convicted pedophile lives here. Ray, you know, that was my father's name. So the police showed up, because people were calling the police because there was a big guy with a mohawk and tattoos on his head walking through the neighborhood, yelling and screaming, pedophile, pedophile, right? Right? So the cops show up and ended up, you know, there was a publication ban. But because I was the victim, and I hate that word, because I'm a survivor, I'm here, I survived it. I'm not a victim. Nobody's a victim. You're a survivor. You survived it. I'm here to tell my story, which means I'm a survivor. And if you're here to share your story, it means you're a survivor. So what I do is I go to the neighborhoods now, and when I was going to the neighborhoods with convicted pedophiles, and I was putting, beware, keep your children safe, convicted pedophile lives in this area. And I would put them all over the neighborhoods where the pedophiles live. Walk around, walk and talk, and again, when somebody sees a 54-year-old man with a tattoo on his head and a goatee, it gets some attention in your neighborhood. And they come out, they start talking to me, and I say, hey, there's a convicted pedophile. Now, I can't dox them because the Canadian government protects the pedophiles. So I can, in the neighborhood, there's a pedophile. That's all I can say. I can't tell the house, I can't say the name, I can't do anything. Niagara Regional Police have been to every one of my, this will be the 8th week that I've had a rally. And I call them community safety awareness gatherings. And what I did is I was putting these signs up on the posts. And you know, you say don't film them, don't go for that, but I figured, you know what? I'm gonna film myself for once and ask for help. I'm gonna ask for help. I need help here. I'm a man out here doing this. I need help. So I put a post up on Facebook asking for help. And I said, next weekend I'll be in this neighborhood. If you wanna help me, show up. Well, I showed up the next neighborhood next weekend. There was 10 people there. Awesome. I handed out my flyers. We put flyers up all over the neighborhood. We made community awareness. Didn't dox the guy. Police showed up, told them what we were doing. They actually instructed us on what and what not to do. We do it. And then at the end of it all, I take a big megaphone out and I say, to the residents of so-and-so, there is a convicted pedophile that lives in this area. I don't say his name, I don't give his address. Please keep your children safe. And I am here to pass that shame, blame, and fear that we, as survivors, have to carry back onto the local pedophiles. So when I started doing this, I had complete strangers reaching out to me. Women, men, me too, me too. And then they started being my backup. Bam Bam's backup, that's what I call them, of survivors. So I've watched that group grow. Last weekend, for our 7th, there was about 150 of us on the streets of a convicted pedophile who was a school teacher who was caught luring her children. She offered sex, sent explicit pictures, asked for explicit pictures, and it was actually happened to be my children's high school teacher, one of them. It wasn't my children, thank God, because I probably wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be here. And she got sentenced, she got charged, she got put on the registry. So she was my 7th community safety awareness gathering. This weekend we're going to Port Colborne again, where a guy who is a registered convicted pedophile used to dress up as a clown for kids' birthday parties. He also played Santa for Christmas time in the malls. He's a convicted pedophile on the registry who breaches. I've been to people's neighborhoods where they're 4, 5, 10 high-risk pedophiles. How does a high-risk pedophile get to walk out amongst the street with our kids? It's crazy, right? Never mind the kids, the women. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a group of men, women, and children and empowering each other through community, through healing, and that's what I'm watching happen. Last weekend we had 150 people in Port Colborne, and like I said, 3/4 of us are survivors. I've watched these women and these men come to me from day 1 to week 8 now, stepping into their power, no longer living in that shame, blame, and fear, standing up out there in the streets, yelling, pedophile, pedophile, pedophile. The shame is on you, the blame is on you, the fear is back on you. And I'm talking about empowerment like you would not believe. From these women, from the children, little kids that have been tortured, raped, okay? I met this one little girl, God bless her. She is one of the strongest girls in the group now. Her mother said she was so shy, she wouldn't talk, wouldn't anything. She's coming out of her shell. 2 weeks ago, we were in Chippewa putting a pedophile on notice, and she stood up on the table and said, I feel safe. I feel so safe around all you men and women, right? She used to get bullied in school. She doesn't get bullied in school anymore, right? Because Bam Bam's her backup. And all the kids at the school know who Bam Bam is, right? I have an old OPP Tahoe truck, OPP truck, and I got two big Bam Bam Niagara pedophile hunters on the back on my truck. And you know what? I do this because when I was that little boy and I was being victimized, I used to cry, beg, scream for somebody to come and help me. And anybody that's gone through this knows exactly what I'm talking about. Well, guess what? I'm here now. And I'm here for all the little boys, the little girls, the men, the women who are suffering, who are living in that shame, blame, and fear, to let you know that there is hope, but you gotta do the work. And the work I'm talking about is seeking counseling and letting that little boy and that little girl inside you know that it was never your fault. Ever, ever your fault. And that it always, always, always gets better, no matter what. But you gotta ask for help. And when I asked the gentleman back there about his PTSD and stuff, I suffer PTSD too from it. But for me, I go to counseling. He mentioned the box breathing. That's one of my favorites. I do it barefoot in the grass. I'm a huge barefoot grounder. I do it all the time, all the time. It's one of my best tools, right? And I love nature. I work out. I do everything. I do anything I can to make myself feel better. And I don't care who's watching. I was driving one of the survivors home, one of my backup crew. And I won't say his name because I don't do that, right? And he had said to me, you know, he was watching my videos because I make videos at Bam Bam Andrews on Facebook, Instagram too. And he was watching my videos about how I go around barefoot and stuff and meditation, box breathe. I do like, it's more to me than just going to the neighborhoods, right? I'll put myself out there. So he asked me, you know, I'm afraid to go out in my yard and do this. You know, my neighbor's gonna watch me, think I'm weird. So I dropped him off at home. I jump out of my Tahoe, take my shoes off, take my socks off. I go, let's see the neighbors call me weird, right? I went outside, I hugged this tree. Said, Nick, sorry, take your shoes off, take your socks off, come on over here. He came over, him and I both grounded. I taught him how to do the box breathing. That was about 4 weeks ago. He messaged me yesterday. I'm gonna share the message. Because this is the stuff that I'm receiving on a daily basis from everybody. He told me I could share the message. So I'm gonna share it with you guys to let you know how impactful it is to put yourself out there, to not live in that shame and that blame and that fear, to let another man know that it's okay to not be okay, as long as you do the work to be okay. Put the work in yourself, love yourself, let that little boy, that little girl inside you know that they're safe now. They're no longer going to be hurt. They no longer have to live in that shame, blame, or fear. So this is what my new friend, who has become my backup crew, who is a survivor himself, sent to me yesterday. Hey boss, I guess I'll take the opportunity to thank you for being you. And since meeting you, my life seems to have fallen back into place with purpose again. So again, I thank you for that. I've been cooler, I've been calmer than ever, and this is absolutely because of you and not my own doing. You've showed me and taught me that living with that shame, blame, and fear, that was never my fault, and I never had to carry that. So all that being said, not that I was ever looking or wanted it, but I scored a job this morning, and I can get back some of my leisures and luxuries that I once enjoyed. Because of you, you've given me the courage to stand back up. Basically, what I'm trying to say is sometimes the motivation and inspiration comes from just being in the presence of the right people. So thank you again for all this and more to come. Don't ever change being you or who you are being. And again, thank you for the love and support. Wouldn't have had this fuel under the fire if it wasn't for you. Cheers and have an awesome day. And big love up, my friend Ray. So I told him thank you very much. He says to me, I speak the truth. That's all I know how to do. And I absolutely appreciate you as well. And hell, actually, I look at you now as a male role model, almost like a father. Now I'm 54, he's 48, right? But the fact of the matter is, though this is just one, I could go through my messengers, I've got thousands, me too, and I've shared my story, they've shared my story, shared our story. And I keep telling everybody, the most important message I have for anybody, doesn't matter how old you are, about showing up for yourself. You gotta put yourself first, always. You gotta be willing to do that extra work, always. You gotta be willing to know that it wasn't your fault, ever. And you gotta be willing to know that you can pass that back on to the person where it belongs, to that predator. And once you start doing that, and you seek the counseling, you start doing the work, start doing the steps, just like when you do the steps from alcohol and addiction, and you put the work in yourself, and you love yourself again, and you let that little boy know that he's safe, and that little girl know he's safe, that everything starts to get better, and there's hope. So that's my message, and I thank you very much for this opportunity. Love up all, and it's Bam Bam Andrews. You can follow me out. Thank you.
Yeah, we're just about to wrap up. So,
To bring it all back, I'm not one, as some rapper would say, for the kumbaya. This is great today. It's how we keep it going. What happens next that we're gonna hold each other accountable for. I do have a moment here for a person. This is Devin's sister. She wants to say a few words.
It's homework for therapy, so I have to. So I'm Carissa. I'm Devin's older sister. He used to call me Pooh Bear, actually, but and I called him Little Shit because that's what he was. It was just always the two of us, always. He tried to act like an older brother because he was taller, but he's not, obviously. I have 10 years on him. He did anything to make me laugh. No matter what was going on, he would go wear a dress and try to make me laugh. He put my Harley Quinn outfit on to make me laugh. Constantly just doing anything he possibly could to get a laugh out of me and my mom. The one time we were in my mom's car and Pony came on, and he was in the car 1 second, the next second he was on the roof, and then slid down the windshield dancing to Pony. I used to have the video, I don't have it anymore, but I am also a survivor to a lot of things. I've also been diagnosed with PTSD. I was also diagnosed with BPD, and depression and anxiety and everything else. Just a whole bag of mixes. I've been in therapy for 9 years, I think. Since I was 21, I'm 30 now, so yeah, like 9 years. I'm currently in group therapy for anxiety, but I just did the PTSD group therapy, and that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. When I was 16, I was being bullied in high school. It was really bad. Mom had a chair, and she called it her chair because she was constantly in the office. I was chased. They had to call a cab, and the secretary had to push me into the cab before they got to me. They tried following the cab to follow me home. And instead of getting rid of the bullies at school, I got suspended for a week. They told me to stay home for a week so that I was safe. I had my sweet 16th birthday, and I was excited about being 16, and the picture I took on my sweet 16th birthday, the bullies from my school took it, and they tagged everything that was wrong with my face. They clearly didn't think too much because I did screenshot it, and I sent it to the principal and everything else. And again, I got sent home for 3 days as a safety precaution. The bullies did end up getting a 2-day suspension, but what is 2 days suspension for them to come right back and do it again? And I got a week and 3 days because that's their safety protocol, is to send the victim home. And I don't like the word victim either. I prefer survivor as well. But 16, it came to a head, and I didn't want to live anymore. I was done. Mom wasn't home because she was a single mom, so she had jobs she had to do. My brother wasn't home. I actually don't know where he was. He might have been at school. I had a plan. I had it all written out of how I was going to do it. And I didn't think of the consequences. I didn't think of Mom at that time. No offense to her, but I didn't. What stopped me was my brother, because I couldn't have him find me. Because it was just me and my mom. I helped raise him, and I couldn't put that on him. So he saved my life more than he really knows. And there's still days where I'll see things in stores and think I should buy this for him, but I can't because he's not here. And I don't think I'll ever come to terms with him not being here. But I'm getting better at it. I'm not as angry as I was. For 2 years, I was angry. And I hated everybody. I took it out on the wrong people, but I was also a new mom when it happened. So looking at my little girl's face, I knew I couldn't be the angry person I was because she needed Mom. And my brother kind of sent her to me because she's a spitting image of him, and her personality is him. So it's kind of heartbreaking to look at her, but it's also not. But Devin was a good kid. He always put everyone first, and the bullying started because he said, "Leave my friend alone and pick on me." He didn't deserve it. No kid does. But he was just a really, really good kid. And I'm glad everyone came out tonight to hear about him and hear everyone else's stories and have realized that you're not alone, because no one is alone. And that's it, because I'm going to cry.
If we can just have all the speakers come up, please. Can we have all our speakers come up? Officer too, please. Billy.
We're actually here, and this is more her than me because she's awesome. But we wanted to say thank you again. Out of everything going on in your lives, and believe me, every one of us has something going on. Everyone has a story. We want to just say thank you for sharing. Let's stay in touch, and let's check in on each other next meeting. So I'm just giving out these wonderful gifts to say thank you for your courage, thank you for your kindness, thank you for sharing, thank you for being a part of our lives, and thank you for feeling that you have a safe place where you can share your story and wanting to help people in a world that's so self-absorbed. Thank you for being part of our journey, part of our time, and this is only the beginning.
If there's anybody that needs any support on the YouTube video, we're going to be putting all kinds of phone numbers. My phone number's on there too if you need anything. I have a friend here, Mel, that is amazing. She'll be there for you. You have a lot more support in the community than you realize, and we just commend you all. We didn't get to go through our ideas tonight, but please share your ideas with us on the YouTube, any kind of ideas, or you can email or call us and share your ideas, and we're going to continue to have community town hall meetings. And anybody out there on YouTube, we invite you to come. All cities, all people, all walks of life, and just remember to always have hope, and we love you all.
I think there's a raffle thing going on, I'm not sure, so just in case. And lastly, anybody who's willing to share, as you can see from my teaser, we can black you out, we can show pictures while you're talking. I need stories for the docu, please. Does someone have a bag for the raffle thingamajigger? I don't know, but... Okay, so we're gonna make this quick because I know people want to get home, and guess what? We're tired, we're exhausted, we want to go home. Okay, so what? Mohammed, you're the one that thinks of things quick. We have one ticket.
And just one more announcement before you leave. There's lawn signs. I couldn't keep making them professionally, but there's lawn signs. So please take a lawn sign. It's a positive message. Put it on your front lawn. Or feel free to take one of these signs so I don't have to carry them all home. And just take a hammer and a nail on a wood pole and make sure it's on there securely. And if you're interested in continuing to do the signs, I'm always looking for volunteers, especially men, to help out with our youth and talk to them by the McDonald's where they hang the signs. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank you so much for everyone being here. You guys are going to be